Let me introduce to you the panel for today's Showbiz Roundtable, the 6th edition with Joy 99.7 FM. Let me start with one creative entrepreneur who has been part of this industry for the past 20 years or so. Yes, he's been around for a minute and he is here to help us with discussion. He's worked with a number of artists. NanaYaw, Miss Bell, name them, a lot of them. And he's here today to help with this great conversation. I'm talking about NanaYaw. NanaYaw has also worked with Psychiatrist, Guru, Rough and Smooth, D-Flex, Double, Vibrant Fire, Trigmatic, Raquel, Latifa and Anaswa, Black Suede, and many more. He's done so much for all these artists, and even now as I speak, he works with Adam. Go get him. Yeah, he's also one great creative in the industry, and we are honored to have in the studio NanaYaw, who is a creative entrepreneur. Hello, NanaYaw.
Hi, Kwame. Hello.
How have you been?
I've been okay.
Good to have you again.
Always, Kwame.
Great. So NanaYaw is a creative entrepreneur. He's here with us as he usually does, in recent times, to help us with the topic for discussion, creatives and mental health. Let me also introduce to you another personality who is in the industry, another creative. She's been doing broadcasting for some time now with some soothing voice like that, and sometimes maybe you might have heard her voice on some commercials and all that. Beautiful voice. She's also a voice actor and has a background in counseling psychology. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Natalia Andoh. Hi, Natalia.
Hi, Kwame. How are you?
I'm fine. How about you?
I'm very
I hope
well,
I said your name right.
What did you
Natalia.
say? Yes.
I didn't say Natalie.
You didn't say Natalie or Natasha.
Oh, you see.
Because a lot of people call me Natalie. I don't even know why.
You don't know why.
Natalia, you said my name right.
Great. And also here with us is one great gentleman who is doing great things for the health industry, and I'm talking about the psychiatry industry. He is with the Department of Psychiatry, if you like, at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. He is a specialist psychiatrist in the person of Dr. Albert Sedofia. Hello, sir.
Hi.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I hope you're good.
Yep.
Thank you so much for coming.
Welcome.
Now, let me get into our own. I say our own because he was here with us at Joy 99.7 FM. Every Sunday, you get to listen to him on Joy FM as he brings you the ultimate health. Yes, he's a clinical psychologist, a great one at that, and he has taken time off his busy schedules to be here with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Nortey. My boss.
Howdy.
I'm good. How about you?
I'm fine. Have you slept?
Yes, I have.
Okay. We'll get into that. But you guys always forget. I'm also with the Department of Psychiatry.
Oh, yeah.
Kolebu Teaching Hospital.
Oh, yeah.
Been there for years.
Years.
He was my lecturer.
He was your lecturer.
Yes, on my way out.
Lovely.
And I've been in broadcasting too for years.
Yeah, for years.
Yeah. So when you introduce me, I beg.
Yeah, because
add the flowers.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Right.
Because I used to listen to you when I was a kid. Way back.
Oh yeah, this is the grown-up version. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Right.
Nortey, Natalia, Andoh, Dr. Sedofia, and then NanaYaw promises to be a very insightful conversation here on Joy 99.7 FM. In the meantime, let me take you back to last year, the documentary we did on creative addictions. When we come back, the conversation continues.
At one point in time, I left my comfort zone, my abode, and I came to Medina Ghetto. And I fraternized with rocks and woes. I became a night owl, always on a wild goose chase. And sometimes making 3 square meals a day seems difficult and almost impossible for me.
This is Noah King, a presenter who once worked with a popular radio station in Accra in the early 2000s. Noah's exceptional presentation skills earned him a lot of admirers. But his promising radio career was truncated when he was plunged into an abyss of drug addiction. Noah King tells me that he started using drugs before he got into the media space. However, he says the situation got worse when he traveled with some musicians for a concert in Tamale. That was when he was introduced to more dangerous drugs.
After advanced level, I was at home doing nothing. And my father, had this koinonia with the musicians. He rolls with them. And then the Kokumba Nanumba war erupted. So the Ghana Armed Forces, the Ghana Police Service, the National Security Apparatus thought that it were prudent on your part to organize a peace concert dubbed Operation Gongo in the 3 northern regions so as to forestall peace in the environs. So apparently, my father, having this koinonia with most musicians, told one that yes, I want my son to join you guys so that he can familiarize himself since he's at home doing nothing. So we're airlifted here from Accra to Tamale. When we go to Tamale, the hotel that we were put up, I saw things that were alien to me, things that were foreign to me, things that I never knew anything about. Though I had experimented cannabis sativa way back in college, way back in during my secondary school days. So this time I realized that these things were foreign, and then one guy who was with me, whose name is Kofi, he was pointing to me, this is crack, this, what are you doing is cappuccinos, this is cocktail, and what he's holding is a bunker.
Noah King's curiosity fueled his woes. He was convinced that the source of the assertiveness and the energetic performances of the musicians was drugs.
So when I saw them do that, I said, okay, then this is what gets them euphoric. And when they stand on stage, they mesmerize us. And I said, okay, fine. So when they were done with all that they were doing that very night, we were called upon to clear the residue. And myself and Kofi chanced upon a couple of freebase. When I say freebase, I mean crack on the table and some on the floor. So we took them. And Kofi knows much into it, and therefore he fixed the crack and he took a hit. And he asked me too. I said, yes, I want to try it, because if this is giving them the euphoric and the energy and the drive, then I think it's a good thing. And I tried it, and trust me, I was like a moonraker. I saw myself like an angel suspended in the air.
When they returned to Accra from their concerts in the northern region, Noah could not free himself from the shackles of his newfound love. He spent his money on different types of drugs, including those that would enhance his sexual potency.
So from the experimental stage, I moved to the recreational stage. Apparently, I was getting tuition from them. This will actually let you perform well in bed and all that. And trust me, when I tried it, I realized that it was. But one thing about drug is this: when diminishing returns set in, you will get to understand that no, you're going down on bended knees, and even you wouldn't get erection, let alone ejaculation. Yeah.
The drug addiction had a toll on Noah's work. He would rather spend time in the hazy stupor of his drugs than go to work. Eventually, he was sacked.
It got to a point in time, instead of me going on air, I wouldn't go. I would say, Mufti Dabri, Najib it is a good play for me. So it got to a point in time, despite says, no, it seems this guy has lost it, has lost focus. And apparently I was relieved of my duties.
Not only did Noah King lose his job, He also lost his family and resorted to sleeping in slums.
One day I went to town, and then before I came back, she packed bag and baggages and left unceremoniously with a young chap, Jaden, and they left. And when I came, I said, oh yes, beautiful. I love it that you guys went.
Wow.
Reasons being that the little that I have, I can use it to satisfy myself again.
But Noah King is not the only Ghanaian creative that has suffered the scourge of drug addiction. Kiki Jan, Timothy Bentum, OJ Black, Nasty, Lord Kenya, Okonfo Kwade, Sugar Tone, and Red Eye of Too Tough fame have been in this situation. While some are able to overcome it, the addiction knocks others into penury and, in extreme cases, death. But the big question is, which drugs are commonly abused? Dr. Julius Hatcher, a psychiatrist and clinical coordinator of the Pantan Hospital, tells me more.
Commonly, what we are seeing, and the most common substance all around the world, is alcohol. Alcohol is a very, very toxic drug. Unfortunately, it's among all of them the most legal and illicit of the drugs. Yes. Whenever you see adverts on TV about liquor or any bitters containing alcohol, they say 18 years and above, but who really checks for ID cards whenever alcohol is being purchased? So alcohol still continues to remain the most predominantly used substance or drug for that matter. Cannabis comes soon after that in our setting, where people use and are able to get at very cheap prices, 2 CDs, 5 CDs, and they are good to go. They still enjoy their high. And then you have the cigarettes or the nicotines around.
This is the Chosen Rehab Center, a facility that offers help to mentally challenged individuals. This was where Red Eye of Too Tough fame, after battling drug addiction in 2023, got relief. The use of drugs is one big problem bedeviling the creative industry. A lot of creatives the world over have lost their lives, their sanity, and their livelihood through drugs. But what really pushes them into this act? Let's find out. The center has a music recording studio, a computer lab, a gym, and an open area suitable for prayer meetings. The Chief Executive Officer of Chosen Rehab Center, Apostle Daniel Kobe Washington, prayer meetings. The Chief Executive Officer of Chosen Rehab Center, Apostle Daniel Kobe Washington, tells me about some of the things that drive creatives into drug use.
Because the brain never rests. Creatives, their brain never rests. They are inquisitive. They want to know more. They want to unfold or uncover, release things that somebody will be like, wow, how did he get to that frequency? How did he get this song? How did he come up with this movie? How did he write that book? You know, because the normal thing is, it doesn't give nobody an high. Something that is common, nobody wants to fall for it. But you want to come up with something different. And that is why they start experimental abuse or drugs. Let me do some weed. Let me do some alcohol. They have the different ways to do it. But the weed is known that it's supposed to broaden or open them up.
According to satirist Kweku Sintim Misa, popularly known as KSM, the biggest push for drug use among talents in the creative industry is the ability of the drugs to evoke wild creative ideas.
They tell you that drugs will enlarge your creative horizon. There are so many things that you can create and do that under normal circumstances you will not be able to. And surprisingly, there's some truth to it.
For most people who use illicit drugs, they start as children or teenagers. The late Lynx Entertainment signee OJ Black is one of those who got trapped in the act when he was but a little boy.
I started smoking when I was very young, very, very little. I started at the age of 11.
11 years?
Yes.
Who introduced you?
No one.
How did it happen?
So I was in a boarding house, and sometimes you see the security, what we used to call watchmen.
Yeah.
Smoking around, seated in their jackets smoking, and I was talking to one of my friends who like, hey Charlie, you see the way this food is smoked, you know? It was like, oh, you go feed smoking, and that was how it started.
I want to sing for the world, sing for my country.
Good.
So if I sing and you don't pay me, I don't lose. If you know what you are doing and what the talent is and what it's worth, it's not what the peanut the person is going to give you.
Good. Nasty, a former member of the Lifetime Family Music Group, tells me that his relationship with drugs was birthed during his time in Adisadel College. Little did he know that what made him high for a moment would ruin his life forever.
This whole thing started in school. You understand? This whole drug thing started in school. I said it, and then Adisco guys say me selling out. And I'm trying to say about my life story. That the Adisco guys are telling me that because I went to Adisadel, I'm selling Adisadel college guys out. But I'm not gonna lie. I started this drugs around at the year 19. I was a little kid. I was a little bit stubborn because Charlie, you need something strong. I don't worry. So far as my motive is to stop drugs, I don't want any drug conversation because right now, I'm trying to say no to it more than going to rehab, or they should tight me. They don't want me. You understand? Say no to it. You have the money in your pocket. You say no. You won't buy it. That is real rehab.
Dr. Julius Hatche says drugs impede the normal functioning of the brain.
The whole concept or the whole idea of drug is that it has got a biological basis. Addiction now demonstrates a biological basis, making it clear that any time that anyone uses any of these drugs or substances of abuse, the brain itself gets affected. It halts the maturation of the brain, and to some extent it even causes the brain's maturation to regress. So certain social skills that you would expect that a person will acquire at a certain stage, because of the use of drug, they may not gain or acquire it.
That notwithstanding, the general perception that drugs boost the confidence of creatives is rife among entertainers. Although Noah King agrees with this notion, he cautions that the consequences are dire.
On the prelims, you would do better because you can imagine when you are behind the turntable and being highly spirited and the music is going on, and you want to scratch, you want to do this, you talk, you get to the euphoria. So I always have the intuition that no, when I don't get high, I can't perform that well. But it will get to a stage and time where you will no longer use the drug for your work, but the drug will be using you.
For entertainers who depend on drugs for their creative activities, KSM, who admits to attempting drugs in the past, advises that the future is bleak. According to the venerated comedian, people who create works of art without external aids like drugs are usually more successful.
When you get on any drug, it can give you some amazing energy and some creative geniuses that can just boost you like this. You know?
Speaking from personal experience.
Can I finish?
Okay, finish.
That can give you the boost. However, trust me, if you rely on your natural and you give yourself enough time, you'll be amazed at what you can accomplish. The deception is that one gives you an immediate thing that you can do, and you think, oh, this is it, this is the way out. But the more you do it, the more at the same time it destroys that capacity. So you can be the greatest creative and everything, but later on you realize that it brings you down again very, very, very fast, you know. So my advice is don't depend on any external high to get creative, because it will give you just that boost, you know, but you can't depend on that boost. Now the other question,
did you ever try it? Any of those drugs?
I tried something, you know, very, very minimal thing to test it. Actually, honestly, you know, I did it, say, okay, let me see how best it can help me to be creative, you know. And the ideas that I got were all very, very wild. And to me, wow, this thing is amazing. It can give you ideas and things. But then once it starts dying down, then I realize these were not wild ideas. These were stupid things. Yeah. But at that time, you don't care. You think it's, you know. So yeah, for me, it doesn't work. And I think creatives, I believe in what they call the natural high.
Okay.
You know, I believe in what they call the natural high. Creatives who stay natural and depend on the natural high are always more successful, and they have longevity than those who depend on the quick high thing. Yeah.
We pray in the mighty name of Jesus Christ.
At the Chosen Rehab Center, Apostle Washington reveals a lot of the people who are brought to his facility for treatment are those who have artistic capabilities, a reason he decided to build a music studio at the premises.
We see that almost 50% of the people that comes in are musically inclined.
Oh, okay.
So either they sing or they rap, or some might say they play drums. So we realize that if we're having a lot of these people, then we need to put in the studio. And God being so good, my background is production, because I'm a Grammy-nominated producer in Sweden. So it was easy for me to put together the studio and to teach music lessons and music classes and how to beat making and all of that.
So you personally teach music?
I teach, yeah.
And you have others who help you to do that?
Others. So I've trained a lot of guys. So the guys that you are seeing in the studios over there, they have been taught softwares like Pro Tools, Studio One, Logic, so they can use all these things and make their beats. And production helps, because you need some kind of concentration, and if you are able to put the tones together, there's a certain high in it.
Wow.
So that can replace the highness for the drugs that you were feeling for.
For those who find themselves in this situation, all hope is not lost. Dr. Hache suggests ways to help people get out of drug use and its addiction.
In helping people who are into drugs or substance abuse, we have various strategies and approaches, and it's easier when you have the person you are dealing with appreciating the fact that they have a problem that needs to be treated, for that matter. Unfortunately, quite a number of the people who have substance use disorders or addiction issues do not even consider it as a problem until they may hit rock bottom. But once they do, what we do is that we have a process whereby we assess them, because drugs, like I have mentioned or alluded to in the past, have a myriad effect on the human being, and they may have a physical condition that is associated with the drug use. So they need a thorough medical examination, a thorough psychiatric examination, so that we identify some of the underlying medical conditions, some of the underlying psychiatric conditions. Then we can target treatment at them and probably focus subsequently on the drug use.
So, before you think about engaging in drugs to boost your creativity or for other recreational purposes, consider the harking effect it could have on your health, your finances, your family, and the community. Kwame Dadzie, Joy News. 6th edition, and we're talking about creatives and mental health. Yes, so there have been a number of stories about creatives coming out to talk about the experiences with mental health disorders. Well, even though these disorders are not peculiar to only creatives, we are concerned because this show is for creatives. Today, we want to find out why creatives get mental disorders, what causes them, and then how to help them get out of such situations. If you are not a creative, do not tune off. Okay, because this will be of great help to you or somebody who is very close to you as well. Joy 99.7 FM Showbiz Roundtable, brought to you by MTN everywhere you go. Superstar multi-food drink. This show is produced by Philip Nye, supported by Anita Tay. Olivier Fandon is on social media. We're live across our social media platforms. My name is Kwame Dadzie. Now, let me read to you some of the examples or situations we've encountered with regards to mental health by way of stories we've read in the media space. So there is this particular one that says actor James Gardner came out to tell his fans that he had battled depression. And according to him, he said, "I was going to keep it simple, but I've got a lot on my mind. I just feel I need to vent out. I need to talk to someone, anyone. My heart is heavy. It's my birthday, but I don't know what I am celebrating. I cried my eyes out this morning. I'm just a young man trying to be successful in this life, take care of my son and my responsibilities. I'm not in competition with anyone. Anyone who knows me knows how pure and genuine I am. That's how my mom raised me. In 2018, I managed to start a car rental company. Things were good until COVID hit. Then business dipped for 2 years. I sold the cars and decided to invest in a nightclub in Ghana, hoping to strike gold once again. But things didn't work out as they should. Or maybe just not yet. Friends and family didn't support much." And then he goes ahead to say how this affected his mental health. This was something he posted some years ago. And there's another story of Dada Kedi also complaining about his situations and then the frustration he had gone through that plunged him into depression. There are others that I'll be playing to you. This is an interview I had with Lexi the Comic about 2 years ago, and he also recounts what he went through during the COVID
and myself
period.
and Kofi chanced upon.
When COVID came, I was so depressed. Well, I was not even contemplating suicide at some point.
Wait,
yeah, I'm serious. I'm serious. I love comedy to the extent that sometimes I just want to perform and not even think about the money. The fact that I'm putting what I have within to practice.
Okay.
So when we were gagged, that time we had a show in the UK.
Yeah.
We didn't get a chance to travel to the UK. I'd invested some money in some business. The money got choked because now we can't sell to people. I was broke at that time. I was in the room depressed. I had no friends. I hardly make friends. I have colleagues. I don't have friends.
Sure.
So I think through the conversation or something, he called me one time and we're talking. I realized that we all had we're fighting the same demons. So he came up with an idea that why don't we do radio? Since it's also another medium to reach out to people. Because that time, even when COVID, they allowed essential workers to work.
Yes.
Creatives were still limited. We were told not to work. So we didn't know when they would take up the ban. So he came up with a plan. He said, let's do radio.
And so that was Lexi the Comic there. Lexi talking about his experience with depression. Let's take a listen to Miss V.
I didn't leave Mix. I left music.
You left music?
Yes, I gave up on music 2 years ago. What? It's very emotional, because I was super, super, super depressed. Like, my mom would call me and she's crying on the phone with me. Or she comes to see me and she's crying with me just because I don't know how to handle myself. Being a musician, people don't know this, but it's really a lonely life at a point. You have all these people you hang with and you have all these people who say I love you, you know, but at the end of the day, you don't know who truly
loves you.
Yeah, it's just really strange.
Miss V telling her story with depression in an interview with TV3. Now to Ochame Kwame.
7 years ago,
yeah,
I had a mental meltdown.
7 years ago.
7 years ago.
A mental meltdown.
Yes, before I turned 40, I became very sick. You know, but apart from that, I don't think that I've been.
Oh, what happened?
Oh, you know, so I used to write for Ghana Web. I had my own blog on Ghana Web.
Wow.
Yes, for a long time ago. And before I turned 40, I wrote an article on my fear of the big 40. So all the things that I was afraid of. I was afraid that my audience are going to grow and into now at that age they will shift into managerial positions and I want to listen to Amachide instead of rap and lose my audience share, and the young ones will not identify with, because I remember I used to tell my mom, hey, where the 40 when you knew? So I knew that exactly, I knew that I was about to grow old and I was hitting midlife and the crisis came with it. So I don't know what had happened. That fear of the big 40 that I wrote about, it came to roost. And then during that period, I remember I went to Takoradi one time to go and launch a single, and nobody came to the event. Very few people came to the event. And that night I cried.
7 years ago.
7 years ago. And I'm thinking, I'm losing it. I'm no longer going to become Ochame Kwame. And, you know, this whole music thing is built on a certain social value validation. So it's about how many people are following you on Instagram, how many people have subscribed to your YouTube channel, how many times the DJs play your music, how many people. That is what a hit is. When there is a social celebration of a song, then the song has become a hit. And you are an artist to eat because you are creating hits. And the demography of people now in Ghana, of the population in Ghana, is that the age range is between 21 to 23. So if you are 40, these people can no longer identify with you. Then it means your career is about to crash. So at that time, that was my perspective. And because that was my perspective, I thought so much, I worried so much that I destroyed my whole system.
Wow, you got depressed?
Oh, completely.
How did you come out of that?
Well, so I went to the hospital. I was just telling him. I went to the hospital. I went to see a general family doctor.
Yes.
I went to see a family doctor. They gave me, so I didn't just get depressed. I got depressed. My LDL, which is the bad cholesterol, went up to 4.6. And the threshold is supposed to be 3.0. You know, so it went up to 4.6. It affected. I used to wake up every day with headaches. Every morning, wake up with headaches. I had angina pains on the left side of my chest, and I had a referred pain coming from my hand, through my left hand.
Hey.
You know, so I thought I was going to die.
All right, Ochame Kwame also recounting his depression, if you like, quote unquote, experience with Joy 99.7 FM. Let's take a listen to an interview Papi Kojo had with Delay, also talking about depression.
And then suddenly, it's like you went on hibernation, more or less.
I was depressed. I was going through depression. Like
I late.
No, I late is 2015 from Awa.
Yeah, you this guy Awa.
Oh yeah, you this guy Awa.
From that time to Akwabano.
To all depression.
Depression.
Yeah.
How bad?
It was very bad. Like I wouldn't even go out. Like people, even shows, I wouldn't go to shows.
You got invitations about?
Yeah, I wouldn't go. I felt like I was the only one going through, but
no,
everyone goes through that. So it's not even a big deal.
It is a big deal.
It's not.
Papi. Maybe it has to do with the work that we do.
Yeah, it's just the work, you know. I don't think it's healthy here. I don't think it's healthy. It's not healthy here, you know.
It's
like people expect you to be great, you know, and there aren't even structures for you to be great.
Joy 99.7 FM Showbiz Roundtable, 6th edition, and we're here talking about creatives and their mental health. You've listened to a number of clips from some creatives who have recounted what they went through with regards to mental health disorders. Now, let me come in studio and talk to my guest here. Already I have in the studio Nortey, I have Natalia, Andoh, Dr. Sedofia, and NanaYaw. NanaYaw is a creative entrepreneur. He's worked with a number of these creatives. Let me ask you, from all that you've heard, all that you've read about, are there more examples or more celebrities or creatives, if you like, that you know have been through mental health situations?
All right, thank you, Kwame. So for me, majority of my work has been in two industries.
Okay.
Music and film.
Okay.
Working with talent, you learn a lot about them. So as a talent manager, this is what I do. Before I work with anybody, if it's a new artist,
okay,
I take you through 6 to 2 years of preparation before I push you out. 6 months to 2 years.
Of what? Preparation?
Yes.
What goes into that?
So for the first 6 months, you learn how to speak in public. So there's a brand coach for you.
Okay.
There's it's a media training, how to handle yourself during an interview. You know, you do a lot. And sometimes I bring experts to come and sit down with you to try and do it as if you're on radio or on television.
Wow.
And then we create a scenario, a narration to see how you handle yourself. The next 6 months will be the usual one, the voice, trying to understand how voice training, your directions,
technical
part of it. And then the next one will be how to write a hit record. And when you write a hit record, what we need to do to get a song to become number one. So once you are ready, before I push you out. And lucky for me, I've worked with owners or executive producers who are very patient with me to go through all these processes before I push an artist
During
out.
this period, do you also consider or take them through some psychological?
Yes, a lot.
You have professionals that...
Yes, I have. The first 6 months, you have a lot of experts teaching you a lot of things. And for creatives at that point, they want to blow. So even though they are sitting in the classroom learning, their mind is on, Charlie, I want to go and do the song. I won't become star. I won't blow. I've had a case where I'll tell you a story of a young guy that was brought to me by Jude and Cypher.
Okay.
And they told me the story. I ask questions a lot because, you know, I have a journalistic background. So I asked, where is this boy coming? How is the home like? Then they describe the home to me. You know, like the house is very, you know, manageable. They are not rich, they are not poor, they are okay. The mom is okay, the mom is very religious. So I didn't understand the psyche of how the home is. I had a chat with the mother and said the mother will tell me that I'm giving you my son because he wants to do it, but I'm hoping that you will help him to become a better person. So we take you through a process to understand that when you become a star, these things happen. You will pass here, this will happen, that will happen. If you don't want anybody to go against your family, don't say this, don't do that.
Okay.
When these things happen, please withdraw, keep to yourself, keep limited number of friends. So for me, I'm always the best friends of my talents. If you've noticed, if you take Adam for instance, Adam go get him. I'm always with Adam. We are always together when it's recording, when it's not recording, because I like to understand what they do so that I can be there when it's important. So with this young artist, we happen to do all the preparation, and his first time on radio, he comes and he flops very badly. And even to do a freestyle, he couldn't even do the freestyle because he got the moment, you know, he got taken up by the moment. So it was overwhelming for him.
Okay.
In the studio, all the producers or even the host, they were all laughing at him.
Oh.
And now I keep getting calls that, oh, but you two, which gang boy you go bring, which artist with this, and some of it his friends were also telling that, you two, you shout, why you go the radio, you go floor, forgetting that this is a guy who had always imagined himself on radio as a young talent, as a young boy who has a passion or had the desire to do music. He's always been picturing, he's been imagining himself on radio, on TV, on stage. And so when the day comes, everybody has a different way of approaching some of these things. Maybe I will handle it calmly.
Yeah.
He might not be able to. And the friends don't know that. So it gets to him. And now he wants to self-sabotage. And I said, no, you won't do that. And so I go to the owners and I say, I need more time. They said, you have all the time. So I start to prep him again. And that same platform that he came to flop, after prepping him again, getting him psyched up to understand that this is the space. This is what I was telling you that when you go into the space and you have a bad interview, this will happen. See, it has happened. This is the approach. This is what you have to do. Calling in experts to talk to him, to get him ready. We came back to the same station to come and get the number 1 song in the country, Mampe.
Vibrant Fire?
Yes.
Whoa.
We came to have the number 1 song in the country. That is Mampe by Vibrant Fire. But people take the work that we as talent managers we do for granted. People feel like, oh, every day you work with them, you don't know what you do. Somebody will see and say, oh, every day you deal with somebody. No, our work is very crucial because these people, they don't really understand the mental health, process. Lucky for me, in my house, I've gone through stages where people around me have been diagnosed by professionals.
Okay.
And I've seen things, so I understand if somebody's having an anxiety breakdown. If somebody's having an episode, I try to learn the pattern of what triggers the person's episode and what the person does. Maybe the person becomes numb. The legs, the hands become a bit numb. In some cases, some people have running like diarrhea instantly. And so when I'm talking to an artist and he says, Charlie, the interview be when? It be 4 p.m. And then you say, hey, my stomach. I say, calm down. It be anxiety.
Okay.
It's nothing. Calm down. It's in your head. So let's see. What do you do to calm yourself down? Some say I play a game. I say, okay, for the next 20 minutes, I can buy time. So I'll call Philip and say, Charlie, give me some 20 minutes. Philip will not understand. He will say, oh, Charlie, NanaYaw, my show. my show. You did flop my show.
That's what you do.
That's what I do. And sometimes when I bring the artist to the station, when we get out from the car, a fan will come, wants to take a picture. And I tell the fan, oh, it's not a good time because the person is going to anxious moment going on the radio. The fan will say, oh, then it triggers something. And then now I have to put the person back into the car, play a couple of songs. Then I come and tell the producer, give me like 10 minutes. Oh, NanaYaw, my show. I said, bro, I'm not going to tell you what's happening. If only I can tell you what is happening. Let me give you another example. I take an artist for an interview. We drop a project. It is becoming the number 1 project in the country. We go for an interview. We leave the interview. Because I wasn't driving that day, he drove me and took me to my house. Only for me to get a call 5 minutes later, he's in an accident with the car somersaulting. I rushed. I didn't even move my car. I ran without slippers to the accident scene. When I got there, a lot of fans, people are taking pictures and So you have to solve that. Then you have to get him to understand what is happening, because there's a certain religious myth that because my project was becoming number 1, somebody they attack me. And in some cases, it's not really an attack or spiritual. It's just an incident that happened that we need to manage. After dealing with the police issue and everything, we go to court and guess the headline that comes out. Artist so and so has killed somebody.
I saw that story.
And then now, as the leader of a team, everybody's looking up to you to say, what do we do? The family, your team members, everybody's calling and saying, Nana, what do we do? So you have to quickly get into conversations with experts and say, what can be done to help in this case, so that the person doesn't have to go through a mental.
I like that. At that point, you speak to experts.
Yes. I mean, our big sis, who passed away recently, Mauna Duma, she was very instrumental with our team.
Okay.
She was with us through and through. When you call her, she'll answer. She will say, Nana, you guys are going the wrong tangent. Come to this side, do that. And so we try to manage the situations. So I pick a call with the editor of the print, and I say, bro, your headline, the print is okay. Can you take it down on the internet? And the editor is trying to make me understand why they have to keep it. And I'm saying, bro, I cannot tell you, because if I tell you what is happening, you're going to reuse it. And this is not a matter of looking for numbers. We are not looking for numbers. We are trying to manage home, personality, private life, so that we can be able to get the person out of this box to come and do something, to come and do what he loves to do, right? I'll give another example. Once upon a time, Miss Bell went for an interview, and I was managing Miss by the time. And we went for a pre-recorded interview, and she said something during the interview. So when she said it, when she said, this is something that everybody knows, that's why I mentioned her name. And then I was the manager. Then a part of the interview that was used, we had gone to see the producers that this part, if it comes out, will be a big problem for us. We are pleading that you guys take it out. I mean, remember Mizba once said there was no Jesus. And the show that we went on was a pre-recorded show. It wasn't a live show. So they had every time in the world to just follow what we had said. But they chose to use that as a highlight of the show. When the highlight hit television, my phone blew up so much that my mother had to call me. Because everybody in the media, they were after her.
Did that affect your artist's mental health?
Yes. A lot, because she had to, sometimes she locks herself in places, in the room, not wanting to talk to anybody, because that is what she believes. That, according to her, like, this is my belief. Why are people chastising me for my belief? Can't I have a belief anymore? Am I not supposed to be a human being? Aside me being a musician, am I not a human being? Don't I have my likes and dislikes? So in this case, you find an expert, but because we are very close, I'm able to talk to her. I'm able to get into the head and say, listen, it's only stars that shine that, that gets talked about. If you're not shining, nobody's talking about you. People look up to you. People think that because you're a star, your influence on them is heavy. It's okay to be misunderstood. It's okay to get it wrong sometimes, but you didn't get it wrong. Just that people think you got it wrong. So what I did was I asked her, what will help? She says, if I can go back on radio or TV to go and say my piece, then I make a call to Andoh FM and I say, Kodupa Kudanka, can you give me some time on your show? When we come, please don't ask any question. Allow the artist to vent. When she's done, when we call off 5 minutes, you can open or you can make a call and then can have a conversation. And Kojo helped. And I think that venting helped her a lot, because she was able to clarify a lot of the things that she had read online, the media headlines that she has seen, and her friends that didn't think what she said was right. A lot of things that happened. So she was able to free herself. Yeah. But it's not every talent that is able to, get up, come out of some of these things. Some of them they hide. And one thing that
I know you have a lot of stories. I'll come back to you. You put the rest in the fridge. I'll come back to you. Let's get on Zoom and speak to Kojo Q, who has also spoken about his experience with mental health challenges. Let's talk to him now. In the meantime, 0551111 is our WhatsApp number. You can send in your thoughts, your questions now. We have the expert here to help with your questions. Let's go straight to Kojo Q, who recently spoke about issues that he encountered with regards to mental health. Kojo, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Kwame.
I hope you're doing well.
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Fantastic right here. Kojo, let me ask you, in which year did you experience this mental health disorder or challenge?
There hasn't been a specific year. I think it's a thing that I have always had issues with. I've had small bouts with depression, but between 2020 and 2022, that's when it came to like a huge, like it became huge. It became a thing that I had to deal with professionally as well.
When you talk about it became huge, what do you mean?
I mean, it got to the point where I had to go to therapy.
So, paint a picture to us. When you say you had mental health disorders or challenges, what really happened to you? Can you paint a picture to us?
The factors that pushed me into depression, they are not things I want to discuss now. It has nothing to do with music. It's personal. Yeah. I just had a personal tragedy in 2020, and then combined that with COVID, it just drove me deeper down into depression. And then I had to go to therapy for it. So when I talk about depression, I'm talking about not wanting to see anybody, not wanting to do anything, not wanting to talk to anybody at any point in time. I gave away all my studio equipment, stopped recording music. Just, just didn't want to engage with anything, just didn't want to be a part of the day-to-day of life and living.
Did you talk to any family member, any friends about this when it happened?
No, I went to therapy first. Yeah, because like before then, like I said, I've always had, there's always been things. We are human. We all deal with trauma on the daily, and especially for those of us that end up in the limelight. If you are living in your area safe and a rumor comes out about you that is untrue, that is like terrible, you know how it can make you feel. Then imagine imagine that's multiplied by however many followers a person has. Imagine someone that can't even hide. It's not just their area, it's anywhere and everywhere that they are going to. Their parents will call them about it, this and that. So for us, when you're in the limelight, the toll is heavy. So before 2020, definitely I will talk to my friends. I have friends that I talk to when they are going through things. And then when I'm going through things and it becomes too heavy to handle anymore, I can call them about. Yeah, but it just got to the point where I had to bring in an expert.
What procedure or processes did your professional or the expert you spoke to or you went to see put you through or took you through?
Our sessions were mainly talking about my feelings, why I feel like that, going back in time to also explore certain things that led me all the way to that particular place. But then also teaching me mindfulness, meditation practices, teaching me how to separate things that were actually happening to me from things that I was imagining, and how to be rooted in the now and in reality, and basically just how to notice when I'm having an episode so that I'll direct myself towards things that calm me down, things that bring me back to reality.
Was this before you released For My Brothers?
No, this was after For My Brothers.
So,
and it's funny because
you have Nevermind, which talks about mental health in there.
That's what I was coming to. It's funny because before then, I thought, because of my small bouts of depression, I thought I knew what depression was. But that 2-year period made me understand that there are levels to it. There are things that you can deal with by yourself. There are things that you might need to talk to friends or family. And then there are just things that you have to go to experts for, because at a certain point in time, that's the only way. There are even things that you might have to get on medication for.
So did the expert you went to see, did that expert tell you to maybe put the reins on your music career for some time?
No. I did that. I did that by myself. I just was not in a space where I could create anymore at all. So I just had to stop that and find other newer, more interesting things to see if I can distract myself a little, but also just to take time to take care of myself outside of work.
What were these more interesting things?
I picked up gardening. It was really helpful. I also learned to cook. Like, it's funny because my mom is a caterer and I never cooked anything. I will burn food when she would ask me to cook because I didn't want her to use me to help her in her work. But then during this period, I learned how to cook, and I learned how to cook because these are cooking and gardening are things that when you're doing, they require your full attention. They require you to be present, to be focused on what it is you're doing. And I realized that the biggest battle when you're going through any of these episodes is time. Because once you are able to spend enough time not worrying about it, I think your body, your mind starts to readjust and things. So me learning to cook kept me grounded. I also became better at meditation too.
I also read that you began to travel. You traveled during that period as well.
That change of scenery too was super helpful. Like just any activity that captures your attention and puts you in the moment, anything that puts you in a place where things are new, so that you are kind of finding new interests and exploring new things. You understand? You have to do things that can help you get out of your head, because when you get stuck in your head, that's when you make up scenarios. We are creatives. We create things out of nothing. So we will take one thing that's happening to us and we make up like 30 different scenarios, and that may not even be what is actually happening on the ground. And those things, sometimes when you're creating those things, it can feel like super real to you, even though it's just you imagining things. Yeah. So anything that's why people say when they play video games, because video games, you have to give your full attention to the video game, then your mind can rest. Your mind is not focusing on nothing so much. And then as time passes, everything starts to, calm down.
Were you active on social media during that period?
I was active for maybe the first year and a half. But I was only I was only active because of football, because that was also another thing. Watching football took my mind off things. And then I decided I saw a post that said, take a break of social media for a month, see, how different things are. So I decided to take a month's break. I took the break, and then it was so amazing that I just decided I was not coming back on Saturdays. I was ready to do music again. So the 1 month break turned into almost a year where I was just gone.
While you were on social media, did you see people ask, where are you? When are you dropping a new song?
Oh, yeah. Those things, funny enough, for me, the music itself has never been a source of my depression at all. I am super grounded, and I'm a person who I do not necessarily like the fame part of it as much. And most of the time, that's what causes the problems. When you have a hit song one year, everybody loves you, you get a certain type of attention, and then the next year you are not getting a hit song, and then that attention turns to, oh, he has fallen off, this and that has happened to him. I've never really been in love with the fame aspect of it. So that has never really happened to me. I prefer when people don't even speak about me. So those things don't get to me as much. This was super personal.
Are you considering embarking on a project for mental health?
Definitely. My music itself, I've always made music as an avenue to let people know that they are not alone, to not let people know that whatever it is that they are going through, it's not only happening to them, it's happening to other people. And here are ways that people use to combat those things. Maybe they can try them as well. But I definitely see myself going, into that space in a major way, whether through the music itself or through a foundation.
Any advice for creatives out there on mental health?
What I would like to say to all my brothers and sisters is that whatever it is that you're going through, you're not alone. You're not the first person that's going through it. You are not going to be the last. You are stronger than it. Time is your biggest enemy. So what you need to do is create safe spaces for yourself. You need to curate your friends in such a way that you have people that will listen to you without judgment, that will listen to you without trying to find things that they can weaponize against you later, so that you can talk to them when you're going through things. Share, let them also share with you. And then, just always go back to that safe space whenever you feel overwhelmed.
Right, so that you just listened to Kojo Q there, sharing his experience with mental health disorder, and we're still right here on Joy 99.7 FM, a Showbiz Roundtable 6th edition, and we're live on Joy 99.7. The show is brought to you by MTN everywhere you go, looking at creatives and their mental health. I have in the studio Nortey, who is clinical psychologist. I have Dr. Albert Sedofia, who is also a specialist psychiatrist. I have NanaYaw is a creative entrepreneur, and Natalia, Andoh, broadcaster, voice-over artist. Let me talk to Natalia. Natalia, so you've listened to all these examples from Lexi to Papi Kojo, and then now from Kojo Q. Have you also experienced anything of as a broadcaster?
No, I won't say I have. I mean, the thing about creatives is that when you're not creating, there's a certain emptiness that you feel.
Okay.
Because you're expecting that people are looking at me. What am I doing? And especially in recent times, because of social media, you're always seeing your colleagues or the people in the industry with you, whether it's music, whether it's presenting, whatever. And you see people are making strides. You see people are posting maybe every day, somebody's doing this, somebody's doing that. And sometimes there's a certain pressure that comes with that because you feel like you're not doing enough, or you feel like you're not living up to expectation because you want to be, obviously, if this is the field that I find myself in, I want to be the very best version of myself in this field. So sometimes when you have a moment when nothing is really going on, nothing is really happening, for instance, if you're somebody that is hosting programs, you're an MC or a host, and maybe an entire year you have not been booked for any hosting, nothing, an entire year. And within that year, you've seen your other colleagues who host gigs, hosting gig after gig after gig after gig. There's a part of your brain that obviously, there's a certain feeling that comes with that, because now you ask yourself a lot of questions. Is it that I'm not
good enough?
Not necessarily good enough, but am I not selling myself well enough? Why are people not booking me for gigs? Why is this not happening? Why is that not happening? And sometimes if you're not careful, or if you don't have other things that you fall back on, then it becomes a problem for you mentally. For me, I have a lot of different things that I do. So I've never had that period where I'm doing nothing.
Okay.
And for me, that's a very good thing, because I journal a lot. It is my way every day. At the end of the day, I have a book that I go to and put down my experiences today. It's something that really helps my mind. Great. And so outside of that, you'll find that there's so many other things that you do. I mean, I'm a mother, of course, but then I'm either doing voiceovers. I sometimes give my time to some rehab centers, obviously because of
your background.
After I finished my school, I do some work here and there with some rehabilitation centers. If I'm not on radio or doing voiceovers or emceeing gigs or doing cooking, I have a cooking business as well. If I'm not doing that or taking care of kids, there's always something to do, because I feel like as creatives, it is the lack of doing something that always pushes you into that corner where you feel like, am I worthless? What is going on? Why am I not doing something?
Is it not also about you overdoing that something? We will get to
it. Could be. It could be. It could be you overdoing something. But at the end of the day, first of all, you need to ask yourself who you are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And where you're going. One thing that Kojo Q said that I can identify with is, I don't like the whole fame part of this job that we're in. I really wish that I could just do my job and go home and nobody knows me.
Silently.
I loved it when I used to be just on radio and people knew my voice and they had no idea who I was and stuff like that. So I do my job, I go back home and mind my business. So if people saw me at the corner shop in my neighborhood or something, they don't even know who I am. And I loved it because being known comes with a lot of expectation. And sometimes that that expectation can become burdensome. So sometimes it's hard when you're put in that position because you feel like you need to live up to a certain expectation. Imagine being a creative in Ghana. Maybe you have a platform on social media. You're very loud on there. People know you have numbers, and somebody sees you going to hop on a trotro to go somewhere. I think it was just recently that what's it? He's a football. A goalkeeper that was captured in in a trotro, and people were kicking a fuss. Hey, but why is he sitting in a trotro, a whole goalkeeper, whatever? And Seydou Agongo even bought him a car after that. But you see, that's the thing. People have certain expectations of you. They see you on TV, or they see you thriving in your area of your profession, and they expect certain things of you. You cannot be Natalia. And, why don't you have a car? Until Ejuma 20 years.
They want a particular type of car. You should not have Kia money.
Yes, there's that expectation. If you're showing up, I don't have a social life. People don't even know that about me. People think I am social. I'm very antisocial.
Oh, you are?
Very. I don't go anywhere. You would hardly see a blogger capture me, Natalia, at an event. You would never see it. I never go. I get invitations and I don't go just because I don't like that whole thing where I can wear my nice dress and my nice shoe and some blogger will come and capture me and people on his platform will just come at you for no reason. And I've seen that happen so many times to so many people. It's like somebody at an event is captured and suddenly they become a target for the bloggers followership because somebody has seen something wrong with the shoe, or somebody feels like, about why is your stomach looking so big, or why are you looking like this? And for that reason, you can be a trend for the next 2 days because people will zoom in on your appearance and say all kinds of things, and all these things will affect you mentally. So I stay away from all of that. Also because I have kids and I really am very wary of the kind of information about me that will go out there. So I try to stay away. I just do my job and go home. End of story.
All right. Joy 99.7 FM, a Showbiz Roundtable, 6th edition on Joy. My name is Kwame Dadzie. I'm here with Natalia Andoh, Dr. Albert Sedofia, NanaYaw, and then the man, Nortey by nature. Big man. Now, let's speak to the experts, if you like. Let's speak to the psychiatrist and the psychologist. And Natalia, I'll come back later to you to pick your thought on that as well. Later on Joe 99.7 055-1111-997. It's our WhatsApp number. Do you have any question for my guests today? You can do that now. 055-1111-997. Now, let's get to it. So let me start with you, Nortey. I've heard several times people say that almost every human being has a certain amount of mental instability. Is this true?
Hi, Kwame. I've listened to a lot, and I know the theme or the subject for the round table discussion.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy to be at the round table.
And we're happy to have you.
Okay, with a colleague, psychiatrist as well.
Yes, sir.
All right. I've heard, is it NanaYaw?
NanaYaw
Wiredu.
Yes.
Right? Talk about what he does, talent management. I can confidently and professionally say a lot of that is exactly what he says. He's managing a talent.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
It could be a brand and so on. I also heard him veer into, coaching, counseling. Many of the things we do can be put under very broad, vague, ambiguous umbrellas, which allow anybody and everybody to get in there. Okay? So a lot of this discussion has talked about mental health issues, but you very quickly change gear into disorder. I listened to James Gardner.
Yeah.
Interestingly, he used to be here, didn't he?
Yeah.
He was in our newsroom
Yeah.
for a while before he
Yeah.
stepped into other things. I've had a producer here, NanaYaw something. Was it Finn Thompson? I think she's acting now. Yeah? I met her somewhere, sounding very different, right? But now she's an actress. Okay. I had Madame next
Natalia.
to me, Natalia say, when you're put under this pressure, and you know, some of the pressure you were not put under. You went in there. All right, so I'm very, very blunt and practical.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
First of all, when we say mental wellness, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
Why are we in such a hurry to go to illness? Is poverty not a mental health issue? Is love, falling in love, out of love, not a mental health? I'm coming.
No, I'm not
Yeah?
asking any question.
Okay.
Please continue.
Why did you look at me when I said poverty? What problem?
Mini problem.
All right. So somebody gets divorced. Somebody gets a broken heart.
Yeah.
It affects the balance of their mental wellness.
Okay.
It can go either way. Something can shoot you up positively. Some can take you down. All right. What you see as a challenge, somebody sees as their marketing numbers. They are trending. To you, it's killing you. To the other person, they are trending.
Yeah.
So we are looking at a person's capacity, their competencies, their skills, their knowledge, right? The total package that allows them to function at their optimum in the world. And that functioning relates to being also able to deal with life's challenges, demands, pressures. So when we say you are a functional human being, it's not just about successes. It includes your ability, your capacity to handle the ups and downs of life. You can get married and you're looking for children and you may have a special needs child.
Yeah.
All right? Does that mean you're a failure? Do you see? So when we say somebody has good, optimal mental health or wellness, then this person has everything it takes to, by and large, all things being equal, cope with their world. I'm yet to enter into celebrity. Okay? Let's just understand that.
Yeah.
So if something happens to Miss Bell, James Gardner, Kojo Q, Nortey, Philip Nye, or whatever, we must have shock absorbers, gearbox, brakes, trafficator, or whatever, to deal with life. If the road changes and you want to continue speeding, right, the road has changed. Somebody else has changed to a lower gear. Okay? So why didn't you change gear? Why do you think that because it's a Land Cruiser, so you crash everything and you arrive safely? Do you see? So we are actually dealing with life and life issues and bringing it into a certain crucible or pressure cooker we call celebrity life. All right?
Yeah.
So she says, I don't even care for that aspect of it. The scrutiny, the fame, the analysis, the running down, running up, this person is trending, this. You know, I hear people say, so and so has this number of followers.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm old school. I don't have a clue what it means. Do you see? Somebody is looking at followers. There are human beings we now call influencers. Are they creatives?
Some of them are.
Okay, right. So the ecosystem has changed. In the past, you perform on a stage, you hear a certain music ends in a certain way, tan 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 bam, and you answer. Now there are so many different things. There's a curtain; it will go up, right? You're on stage. This is film, this is camera. So you put yourself in that situation. It means all the things I've said about your optimal functioning now are in public view.
Okay.
If you are an actress and you have a pimple or a mole, right? Is it an issue? Is it not? If you have a lisp, for you speak and then we are methapo, right? Stupid. You see? So I speak like this, right? Okay, but somebody helps me, and I can bring this, I can leverage this, And suddenly this is something. Okay? So I'm a creative. But now somebody wants to know, okay, school bang. There's somebody who's hiding their mother. I noticed distinctly. James Gardner mentioned being brought up by his mother.
Yeah.
I might decide that, Papa Noy. Oh, Papa Noy. Do you see? Right? It doesn't mean it's a part of the, but somebody will decide what they disclose and what they don't disclose. Right? It's your choice. In the lives of celebrities, there's so much by way of unmanaged disclosure. We have managed disclosure. Hey, you come and sit because somebody puts a microphone in front of you. Madam can say something about her personal life and she let it go. Right?
Yeah.
So he says, Miss Bell did an interview and said, gave her view on her faith or her belief in God. Somewhere in there, she's still expecting to have privacy. Pause. Pre-recorded or not, what is it being pre-recorded for? Okay, so somebody now decides that we can edit that out of it as part of the management. Okay, somebody also decides that that's the meat. Okay, that is the headline. That is what we are going to blow up. So creatives have a roller coaster in terms of the life they are dealing with, the pace at which it comes at them, all right, and the degree of autonomy or control they have over many of these aspects. When NanaYaw was speaking, he said, "We are writing a hit." When I catch was a hit.
They are writing. They are hoping it will become a hit.
He said it. I was listening to him.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Into artists now who managing no. Why can't you say, "Yep, a hit. It's a hit, man." Right? So obviously everybody wants the success. Okay? So this is what we sell. So psychologically, mentally, this is what I've positioned myself for. Okay, I've had a late cousin, Case Frequency, recording studio. I know several artists.
Okay.
I know several creatives. Are they all hitting?
No.
Right? I've seen some of them change their names.
Yeah.
What was Shatawale's name before?
Bandana.
Sydney.
Berima. No,
Berima.
Berima.
He was Sydney.
Sydney then.
Right? Many of them.
Batman Samini.
Right. Okay. Why are you repackaging? Why are you this? All this becomes part of it. So yes, if you have challenges in this realm, they are challenges. They are mental health issues.
Okay.
Until it has been properly assessed, classified, diagnosed, you can use the word depression. It's a mood. It's a symptom. It's a disorder. Which one are you talking about?
Okay.
I feel sad. Okay. I can say I'm depressed. But if Albert and I are talking about depression,
it's a different thing.
We have a language
Okay.
and certain things we are looking at and looking for, manifesting or showing themselves in a certain pattern over a certain period. Kwame Dadzie, do you drink?
I don't.
All right.
I drink only water.
Typically, there we go. People say, hey, drink what?
Water.
You see, they're already hiring lawyers. But many of us take, let's say, alcoholic beverages.
Yeah.
Right? A small percentage of us will have problems on account of that. But most of the people who take alcoholic beverages are fine.
Mm-hmm.
They do not have a disorder.
Yeah, they don't.
Do you see? Right? But your alcohol use can become a mental health issue.
Okay. Okay.
That is different from saying you have substance use disorder or you are an alcoholic. So let's be mindful that in the space we are in, people throw about these things and sometimes it's even to trend more. Okay? And I've done stuff with some creatives and people where this is the way to get numbers up a bit.
Whoa.
All these things you people say are beefs. What is a beef? A disagreement?
Yes.
But you people can't script it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes they are stunts.
Then it goes over. We had an award show where was there a gun? Was there a gun at an award show?
It's in court.
Right. You see? All right. Is that regular? normative behavior. We know people who carry sidearms. Some say, I've got a license. Okay? But it does indicate certain issues. Okay? So here we go. I'm saying there's normal, right? Mental well-being.
Okay.
It can go up or down. If I say I'm doing something therapeutic, I'm trying to push you into the positive realm of mental health functioning. Good. Okay? If you have a problem, then you've come into the lower depths of it, right? I drink, but I don't have a problem. This person drinks and they are down here, and they can be classified. So if a cop pulls you over and says, step out of your car, can you walk in a straight line? He's looking out for certain cardinal signs and symptoms that indicate a certain blood alcohol level in your system. That is why we have 0.08 as our legal limit for alcohol. Beyond that level of blood alcohol, right, there are certain things you can't do. All right? Great. If I drink to a certain level, my speech, which you hear clearly now, Kwame Dadzie, will start to change, and it's not because I'm cool for it. It's because my ability, right? I want people to understand my ability to operate the structures that made the sound has been changed by the alcohol, which is acting on my brain. Okay. Right? So these are things we need to understand. Good. Okay. Now, when you say celebrities, it's because, yes, why? Do you know the number of divorces that happen in this country? Are they all headline? No. So when you start seeing it, you see a celebrity is more likely to talk about their challenges in the way you got some of these narratives, testimonies, and accounts than the average Joe Blogs or Tom the Plumber or whatever they call. The average person is suffering, but maybe it's not captured. So yours is captured because you've decided that your life now, right? Somebody is working on their treadmill. They are posting it. This actress has become Obolo. She's struggling with her weight. There are other Obolo people struggling with their weight. That struggle has not become a disorder yet. Do you see? And they sort it out, and then you put the person, you feature them. Wow, look at the change in so and so. The James Gardner I knew before, now he has braids. Okay. I heard you listening, talk before when I was driving here. Fifi Coleman.
Yeah, Coleman.
He's also spotted some before. Has he gone back to?
He's gone back.
Right. You see, certain trends and things will determine why you're wearing locks or this or that. Okay. Because of what I do and because I'm a creative, now I get into these spaces. I want to do this, I want to do that. I used to tell people, as soon as Messi started sporting tattoos, I was worried about Lionel Messi. And I'll tell you, Ronaldo looks clean. All right? So in certain spaces, you will do certain things and they project your creativity, your industry, and so on. But they come with costs. So they impact on you, and your ability to deal with these are mental health issues. If it gets to the point where it's significant enough, then we can start talking about disorders, depression, schizophrenia, bipolar, and so on and so forth.
Nortey, right. I'll come to the disorders, and then I'll come to you. But let me speak to Dr. Sedofia. So we've been talking about challenges, mental issues, disorders. Let's put this in perspective. What are the various types of mental health disorders that we have? If you can give us these.
Okay, so the scope is quite wide.
Yes.
But just to add to what Mr. Natalia added, and to give him flowers, he taught me in medical school. He's an OG. So that's why he doesn't understand the numbers you're talking about.
That's a disorder.
He's an OG. So, you see, I'm happy about how he broadened everything. Most often than not, this is an opportunity for people to be educated, right? Yeah. Now, everywhere I do mental health awareness creation, I always ask the question, what comes to your mind when you hear about mental health? And it will surprise you. You, Kwame Dadzie, what comes to your mind when you hear mental health?
Madness.
Good. That's the same answer I get 99% of the time. So that's the commonest answer I always get. which means the narrative out there is actually wrong.
Okay.
We are starting from the wrong footing.
The wrong side.
Mental health is equivalent to mental well-being. And Mr. Nortey defined it. I don't know if you got it.
Yeah, he did.
Where he gave the analogy of the car.
Yeah.
Needing the trafficator, the gearbox, everything. Now, the definition is a state of well-being where you are able to handle normal daily stresses of life.
Mm-hmm.
You are able to live, work well, realize your potentials, and contribute positively to society. That is mental health. Now, if you say, do you have mental health? 90% of Ghanaians will say, no, I don't have.
Because we
not
think
because they are agreeing that they have a challenge, but because they think you are referring to mental illness.
Yeah.
So the confusion is always out there. So I always want people to get it clear. So mental health is synonymous with mental well-being, which is a good thing, which we all want to achieve. Now, a big part of that is resilience, which is your ability to come back from adversity. And he made mention of that as well. Now, one of the things that kept running through all the testimonies that you played were people self-diagnosing.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with them sharing their stories, but it will be best for them to say, I had some challenges, I went to see a doctor, and he said, if you go through a period of where you are feeling down and having some symptoms, you could have a depressive episode. That's not necessarily mean you have a clinical depression. Like he said, there has to be constellation of symptoms over a specified period of time that will affect your functioning. And even the diagnosis, we have mild, moderate, and severe. So somebody may have mild depression, somebody may have moderate depression, somebody has severe depression. So when you say, because I don't have money in my pocket, I don't have a hit song for this year, so I'm depressed, are you truly depressed, or are you just going to an adjustment? Adjustment is the commoner one, where you're not able to handle a situation. But most people mislabel adjustment issues as depression.
Wow.
Yes. Now, most of the things, when you come to us, myself and Mr. Nortey, what we will do, our talking to you will go deep into your past. How you were brought up, childhood, so there's something called ACE, Adverse Childhood Experiences. Most of us in this part of the world go through it a lot. Physical abuse, emotional abuse, and the one that is not talked about, guess what?
Which one is that?
Sexual abuse.
Okay.
Which is extremely common. 1 out of almost every 4 women go through it, some form of it. But they don't. Just yesterday, one of my online clients has had sexual abuse twice in her life, and she's never spoken to anybody on earth before except me yesterday. So a lot of people don't talk about it, and these things affect you later on in life. They are high risk factors for you developing mental illnesses and mental disorders, but nobody talks about it. Neglect. This my client, for example, had neglect because of broken home. These are all high risk factors, things that will make it more likely for you to have the condition. We don't talk about those ones. Poverty, like my lecturer said, it's a big risk factor for you, but we don't talk about it. You know, the definition of health itself has mental health embedded in there.
Okay.
Physical, mental, and social. It's in the center. It's sandwiching see, physical, mental, and social well-being. So if you don't have money in your pocket, you're not healthy.
Hey.
You see, so these are some of the things I want us to and for creatives, and in our dispensation, cyberbullying is a big thing, and it's a high risk factor, and most people go through it. Maybe because you are very loud, you have a lot of followers, you command a lot of respect in the space, and somehow you throw jabs at other people. So when they get you, they won't let you go scot-free. So cyberbullying is a very high risk factor for people later on suffering from anxiety, depression, or any of the mental illnesses that you can think about. One thing that the creatives, like Mr. Nortey was trying to point out, the message which I was hearing from him loud and clear, I don't know if any of you heard it, is that everyone is at risk of having a mental illness. Why? Because you have a brain. Why? Because the brain works with chemicals, let's say chemical messengers. We call neurotransmitters, and a balance of them is what keeps you able to control your emotions, so that you don't laugh when you're not supposed to laugh. So you don't talk to yourself when you're not supposed to talk to yourself. So you don't run when you're supposed to walk. So you don't overspeed when you're supposed to stop. a balance between the neurotransmitters is what keeps you, we call normal. But in our world, there's nothing normal, there's nothing abnormal. We call it usual and unusual.
Oh, okay.
Because normal is it depends on the situation, the context. All right. So anyone at all, every single human being. So when he was mentioning names of people who could have mental illnesses, he added his name. None of you noticed it.
We did.
Because he knew he's not immune. I'm not immune. So none of us here in this room, from Philip to Kwame Dadzie to NanaYaw to Albert to Natalia, none of us is immune. Now when you know that, you realize that creatives are not special. So whatever they are going through is a headline because of the space that they find themselves. But there are much more people suffering similar situations. In Ghana, the statistics say 13%. 10% mild to moderate, 3% severe.
Mental health issues.
Yes, in Ghana. And that is highly under-recorded. Because of stigma, people don't come forward to even say they have a challenge. Yes. So when you ask about what conditions can we label as mental illness, scope is quite wide, but we need to understand that all of us here are at risk. It could be episodic, it could be one time in your life, it could be chronic. It doesn't matter. We should all know that we are all at risk. What may precipitate it, you don't know. Now let me make it even more fun. A woman, she's okay, maybe stigmatizing everybody else, say nobody in the family has a mental illness, she's okay, she's happy, and say when you are going to marry, make sure that there's nobody in the family that has a mental illness, right?
Yeah.
Then she goes into labor, delivers, fine. 1, 2, 3 days after delivery, postpartum depression. That is a mental illness.
Okay.
Now she also has a mental illness in her family. So nobody should not marry to her family too, right? So the stigma is quite heavy. The social stigma is quite heavy. That leads to self-stigma, where the individuals themselves, because of self-stigma, they don't want to talk about it. They themselves feel like they don't belong. So they compare themselves to other people. On social media, for example, people put off their best foot. On TV, and sometimes on radio. Now radio is not hidden anymore. We are still seeing your face on Facebook Live.
And we are live.
You are live. So people want to put their best foot forward. But I've had an opportunity where I go on shows, and after I leave, the presenter calls me, "Doc, I need help." But throughout the show, that person was smiling and laughing.
You need to smile.
Because that's what is expected of you. Your job description is supposed to make everybody else happy. And I've gone to a presentation where in an office, a young man came last, and everybody was laughing because apparently he's like the one person that you have to go to if you are feeling down. Now, when I was done with my first few slides, because my first few slides will make everybody quiet, because my first few slides will make you understand that all of us in this room, none of us is immune. Then you sit up. I'm not coming to point fingers at anybody. Nobody is at a higher risk than you. All of us are at risk. Now, when I was done, that man who's making everybody laugh every day in the office was severely depressed with psychotic symptoms. That is someone who needs immediate medication and treatment, time off work, and a lot of things. But he's been working the office because he was having financial issues, family issues, going through divorce. It was all in one person. But he was still able to make other people laugh. That's why I commend the Lexis. He's one of the comedians I enjoy a lot.
Lexi the comic.
If he comes out, Lexi the comic.
Yeah.
If he comes out to tell you he's battling something, you go like, are you?
Yeah.
You that I used to release my tension. You also. Everyone is at risk. We need to get that clear. No one is immune. We like pointing fingers too much. That is stigma. We always stigmatize people. If being a woman alone is a high risk.
Why?
The gender, the hormones, the chemicals in your system. So you are fine until maybe you get pregnant and you deliver. Do you understand? So that's another side. Now, you ask about the scope. The scope is very wide. We have mood disorders, which is the commonest. Anxiety, depression, the bipolar that we all know about. We have the psychotic spectrum as well. We have the schizophrenia and a host of them. Then we have OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. We have post-traumatic stress disorder. Then we have phobias. So it's a wide.
Which one is the most common?
Oh, mood disorders is what we see most in our part of the world. Mood disorder is the most common. Globally, anxiety is supposed to be the number one, but because we have late reportage, people report to us late. Anxiety mostly complicates into depression before we see them.
Please, what is anxiety?
It's a very good question.
I want to see if I'm having it now.
I was going to go into
yes
something supplementary. He's on the right track.
Yeah,
listen.
Kindly add.
A lot of the things. Is anger a disease?
No.
Are you sure?
It is normal.
Right. So God put it into our operating system for a reason. Anxiety, fear, dread, worry, is normal. But it can malfunction and go into abnormal realms. So, for example, I'm crossing a road, Kwame Dadzie. There's an Okada coming. The speed, the behavior of the rider tells me he hasn't seen me.
Yeah.
Something will happen. My heart will beat in a certain way, right? And there's a response, and I will run out of the way. That alarm response, right, is related to anxiety. Okay, so anxiety in itself is like having a fuse box in a circuit. It protects you. I haven't met Natalia before. So I check myself socially, right? Maybe you might call it shyness. The shyness protects both of us. We are not going to jump at each other, start hugging and touching, and, because something holds us in check. If my shyness is excessive, it's anxiety over the top. Stage fright, what is it? I'm in front of people.
Yeah.
Normally, this system must hold me, but I'm now a creative. I must perform. Okay? So I become self-conscious of my performance and its reception. How was it received? Do you see? So I've given you normal anxiety. Now it's like a car alarm that is malfunctioning. I bought the car, I installed the alarm. Now the cat goes past the car, beep, 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 wee, 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 wee. Then I put it on mute because it is oversensitive. So now your anxiety, which is supposed to protect you, is causing problems. So when we say an anxiety disorder, somebody has a fear of certain things. We say a phobia.
Yeah.
Because fear no abroso.
Not the team.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, not Hearts of Oak. Right? Esawala. You see? So let me stay on track. Kwame Dadzie is a problem. In fact, this morning I was listening to Langabell and what's the other one?
Ruben.
And I said, these are the people we should have on this discussion.
And the host.
Kofi Eford, even his laughter is a mental disorder. But listen, so here's my anxiety. If it goes out of whack, and let me come back to the creatives, because I get jittery very quickly, very easily, but I'm a performer, I learned that alcohol calms it. Alcohol is not a stimulant, it's a depressant.
Okay.
So I take a little alcohol. We have something we call Dutch courage. Right? Because I've drank small, the level of alcohol in my system puts my anxiety responses, which is not just mental but physical. So when you feel your heart pounding, we call it a palpitation.
Okay.
Normally, you are not supposed to be aware of your heart pounding. That awareness unsettles you. It tells you something is wrong. You take a substance, it puts that heart on silent, vibrate only. Right? So you have a solution. Why did you need that solution? Because you are a performer, you are a broadcaster, you are a host. Maybe Kwame Dadzie has taken something to come and speechify.
Yeah.
Right? But this creative industry puts me under intense, prolonged, persistent pressure to keep things calm. Is it a surprise that I'm prone to substance use problems? Somebody says, I smoke weed because it makes me more creative.
Yeah, they say that.
It's another program altogether. I won't even get there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I remember having a short discussion with Kwame after his weed problems, and then he was arrested and all that. And he said, one of these days I have to come on your health program. Kwame, he said it here. Right? And I said, me here, pal, because Charlie, I said, no, Charlie, not easy. You see, initially it was like a joke, but he had been arrested. I know presenters who were arrested for possession. One of them was referred to me. His station took him off air. He sat in my consulting room and people were calling him because they'd heard the station was bringing him back on. I don't want to mention his name. He was sitting in front of me. Hey, Michelle White, Omo Buakra. And I said, have you finished? Do you know this is your source of livelihood? When you were taken off air, how was it? They busted you for possession. I can tell you we have tests and diagnostic criteria that can detect cannabis in your blood, in your system, even 90 days after last use. So if they wanted to catch you for usage, you are finished. He knelt down in my consulting room. Wow. His employer sent him to me. Okay? But he's a creative. And creatives sometimes get into these spaces where maladaptive, harmful use of substances is normalized. Obia Numbi. Do you see? So when we start talking about their issues and the disorders Albert is also talking about, this is what pushes them closer. I'm under extreme scrutiny, which heightens my social awareness, self-consciousness, whether she said somebody sees her, Natalia, this dress, you've worn it 4 times. Do you see?
We've seen it.
We've seen it. Right? Right? So, if she's somebody who's sensitive, this starts to bother her.
Yeah.
Okay? Let's say, I'm using you as an example again, with your permission, right? Let's say Natalia has had a miscarriage. Because she's a broadcaster, somebody decides this is content. So, she suffers. Not because she invented miscarriage, or she's the first person, but because she's a personality. Okay? So you have a hit song, but this is your issue, right? Talent manager, NanaYaw, is doing his best talking to presenters. Let's brand you in this way. Okay? Somebody might decide, Shatawale, is he always angry? So he jokes, he does this, and sometimes he says very serious things.
Yeah.
Do you see? But he's also controversial.
Very.
Okay? Some people say Nortey, but he's controversial.
Yeah.
Right? All of these things come with I used to handle beauty pageants, especially when they get to the finalists.
Okay.
Okay. The organizers brought me in to calm them, we do relaxation, but believe me, the kind of things I get involved in.
Wow.
Backstage. Right? And the pressures. I've had parents come backstage, Yankofie, because their daughter didn't make the cut. And they're angry backstage. I've handled talented kids before. I've seen a parent go ballistic or a child literally collapse because they've been evicted.
That's serious.
So you know those things they do for content and sound and production. So it's eviction and they go, I said, you don't do that to children. You do not do that to children. Do you see? So being a creative puts you under this pressure. We are all liable or probable clients. I like clients instead of patients. Albert has said it. But this pressure makes it more likely that I will have this. When I teach substances, right, I tell people, why don't we have a Michael Jackson? Kwame Dadzie. Michael Jackson's that history tour was mega. The people who contracted Michael Jackson knew that he had a known and pre-existing substance use problem. So you know what? As part of your contract, we know you can. So we brought in a doctor to make sure you are fine. You do your show, your backsliding and whatever. We make our money, we are done. That doctor succumbed to Wako Jacko's request for certain substances. Right? He's a certified, qualified doctor. Those substances caused Michael's cardiac arrest. Michael Jackson's post-mortem returned the heart of a healthy 50-year-old. I think, yeah, he was around 50. His rehearsal the day before he died showed he was fine. So this is what killed him. Check out what killed Whitney and so many others. Sometimes celebrities have road traffic accidents, this, that. Somebody gets angry, takes out a gun. It's because of the pressure of the industry I'm in and my unique individual incapacity or incapability to manage some of these things. Some of them, in fact, a lot of them do very well, but we'll hear of the ones that are having challenges because bad news sells. Right?
Nortey, are mental health issues, are they hereditary?
Depending on what we're talking about, and I think Dr. Sedofia also mentioned, we go into your history, right? Certain things can be found to be familiar, that they may, and there's evidence to show some of these things run in families, okay? But that doesn't make it automatic. It is a risk factor, a predisposing factor,
okay,
which needs certain things to maybe activate it, right? Okay, somebody can come from a family where there's known alcoholism, but several siblings are okay. Even for 2-3 generations, then baku naba. Do you see? So yes, it's an interesting, or it's a variable of interest, right? But even in that family with a history, one is started here. Do you see? So everything can have a beginning that has no antecedents. So when we share that kind of information, we use it to inform our decisions, diagnosis, management, assessment. Do you see? It is not to label and stigmatize and discriminate against people.
Yeah.
Right? So celebrities are very sensitive of any kind of things like that. Let me just quickly touch on social media and what it's done to what we are discussing.
I want us to come there a little bit later.
Oh, later. Okay.
Yes, social
right.
media.
But I call it social media.
Okay, we'll come there.
Right.
Let me come to you again, and Dr. Sedofia again, and ask if underlying medical conditions, like maybe hypertension and all those things, are they factors that can make somebody prone to depression and all that, or the other way around?
It's a good question. Now, that ties into what you asked, Mr. Nortey, earlier about mental
the hereditary
disorders, hereditary.
Yeah.
Yes, there is evidence to show that if somebody has it in the family, everybody is at risk. Does not mean you will have. Like he said, other things have to come into play to make it happen. Just as if anybody has hypertension in your family, if anybody has asthma in your family, if you have somebody who has sickle cell in your family, you're at risk. If AS meets, there's a risk of SS. So the risk is there. Somebody has hypertension in your family, your father has hypertension, your mother has hypertension, the risk is there. The same applies to if somebody has a mental illness or mental disorder in your family. So it's the same thing. It doesn't mean because your uncle, auntie, mother, brother has it, so you will have it. No. And it is not peculiar to mental illnesses. The hereditary nature of disorders or the genetic is not peculiar to mental illnesses.
Okay.
If your father has hypertension, you are at risk of hypertension. And sometimes it's actually good news that you know. So you guard against it. Because you know there's the risk of this. Now I ask about hypertension. Does it pose a risk of having... Yes, chronic medical conditions pose as a stress.
Wow.
And that stress becomes environmental and genetic as well, which predisposes you to developing mental illnesses. Because especially if it is not poorly controlled or poorly managed, that's one of the components that will make you predisposed to having mental illnesses. The condition itself can also complicate things in your brain.
Okay.
Say, for example, you have hypertension, which is poorly controlled, you end up having a stroke. The stroke is also a risk factor for you to develop what we call post-stroke depression, post-stroke psychosis, post-stroke dementia, post-stroke delirium, post-stroke a lot of things. So, you see, so chronic medical conditions is also a risk factor for developmental illnesses. Stress underlines most of our mental illness.
What is stress?
Anything that is overwhelming you and that is beyond your ability to handle, that is stress. Simple terms. that evoke physical and emotional response from you. That is, you're not able to handle it. That's the stress. And there are normal daily stresses which you are supposed to be able to handle. That's resilience. Your ability to handle them and bounce back. But there are people who might not have had the muscle built maybe from their upbringing. That's why in the past it used to be known when somebody grows up in tough situations. Let's be practical. Let's say if a child grows in a village where the child used to crawl on the ground, he will get multiple respiratory tract infections. So the immunity will be developed stronger than someone who is intrasaco, who even before they start crawling, they have
telling me the Transaco people don't like that.
So you see, you need to build some level of muscle resilience to the normal daily stresses of life. So resilience is a key component of how you handle your normal daily stresses. So yes, chronic medical issues, not just hypertension, not just diabetes, lots of them. Cancer. Sometimes just the news. The stress of the news alone will make the person start having a lot of symptoms. Somebody is diagnosed, like we all know, HIV, the diagnosis, it's not too much of until the person gets to know. Once they get to know HIV, then they are seeing themselves as having AIDS. Already they've gone ahead of themselves. Instead of just managing and treating the HIV, because we all know it has no cure as of now, they've already diagnosed themselves as having AIDS, which comes with all the complications from head to toe. So chronic medical conditions is a risk factor. There are lots of other risk factors as well.
Kwame,
well,
can I, I know you want to gas.
Quick one. Yes. I'll come to you. Joy 99.7 FM. This is Showbiz Roundtable, and we are having a conversation, a good and a great one at that, on creatives and their mental health. So far, we've had a great education from Nortey, Dr. Sedofia, Natalia, Andoh, and NanaYaw Wiredu. If you have any questions, 055-1111-997. Now, we will get to the social media and other social things in a moment, but before we do that, Nortey mentioned you mentioned substance use and all that. Can somebody, or do people who, how do I put it? Okay, should we consider what you take in, as in maybe food and other substances, apart from the ones we know as in marijuana and all that, as also contributing factors to depression and other mental health situations?
If something,
the food we eat.
If something is primarily nutritious, then you're talking food. Okay? If it nourishes your body, we are talking food. Let me give you an example. I can mash kenke, right? It's food. Or at best, I can say mash kenke is a beverage. If I allow it to stand for a while, under certain conditions, temperatures, it starts to ferment. In secondary school, we used to call it ferment, right? If a fruit starts to ripen, it's fermenting. It starts to gain chemical and alcoholic intoxicating properties. It ceases to be a food. It is now a drug. You see? Because it has psychoactive substances that act on your brain, right? So whatever you are taking in, I'm glad, I think today is No Tobacco Day, right? Yeah, I think so, 31st.
Okay.
Right? Have you heard the discussions about shisha and other things, right?
Yeah.
But it is popular. Now the women boot for boot. They are puffing alongside the men. It's flavored so people don't take it as a tobacco product and don't suspect it for any other substances, right? I'm very old and loyal member of the tobacco anti-tobacco lobby. We brought the law. Do you see?
Okay.
But the tobacco industry learned new ways of spreading its wares. We have vapes, we have shisha, we have e-cigarettes, we have all sorts of new modes. Do you see? Okay, so when you are in this space, I've dealt with the food part. Unless there's something in it that is more than just nourishing you,
okay,
and has a chemical effect on your brain and the body then we can start relating it. And you see, it's very important we understand these things, because yes, now that I'm in the public glare, what I eat, what I look like, and all these things become an issue. Your weight becomes an issue, my dear. Even the men. So I'm sure Albert will agree with me. We have body dysmorphic disorder. I'm not happy with my body and how it looks. All these tummy tucks and cosmetic surgery, some people are dying from it. I went to do my bum. I've hired a lawyer for my backside, for my breasts, for my this. Why are celebrities more prone to these things? Tattoos, body scarring, and all these things. You think it is trending. That could be your path to an illness. You're sharing needles that are used to do the tattoos, and sometimes they don't know. But because it's fashionable, right? I want to jazzy up my appearance. You have an artist. Maybe NanaYaw says, you are my artist, my talent. I will not permit you to do these things. Do you see? Because I want to brand you as this. Another manager might say, I want to brand you as this. So yeah, let's go there. Maybe you can come to him. You will have talents and creatives who struggle with these transitions and packaging. I don't want to look like this. In fact, one of the recently refreshing things I listened to was a couple of years back. How long has Black Sheriff been around, right? But he gave an interview. He says he doesn't follow social media. In fact, it's his mom who tells him what people are saying.
Yeah.
He also said he doesn't use substances and a few other things. And there was commentary. People were surprised because outwardly this is what you look like. And people think people who look like this must use substances.
Yeah.
Right? No offense to Black Sheriff. I love his stuff, okay?
Great guy.
Yeah. But you see, somebody looks at you and thinks you must do this. So he gives an interview which tells you he's actually a young man.
Very young.
He talks about mommy. He talks about daddy. Right? You won't expect that. But the suction and the power that can pull him into certain vortexes, right? And influences, right? Because now I look like this, I'm going here, and I look at a lot of his videos, the costumes and things, they are way out there from out of this world. But the person I listened to in the interview seemed very well grounded. Okay? Of course, that can transition. Do you see? So these are the things that we need to get the creatives to look at. If they start to show signs of deterioration, challenges, somebody needs to, with Black Stars, I used to say, those days, we used to say, Sule Bafe, right? You ask somebody right now, red card. But Sule plays. When he gets angry, there were a few incidents that showed us that Chale, do you see? Right? If you have a talent or you are creative, you have anger issues, you have substance use in there, you have family history or history of abuse and this, your music is nice, lovely. When I think of R. Kelly, I want to weep. Right? This is the music.
Yeah.
Where's the man? He's here. Right? Is it a management issue? Is it a mental health issue? Right? I hear stuff. Bill Cosby. You did this? Bill Cosby?
Yeah.
Right? Now we're hearing PDD and the whole lot. What gets us into these things, and how can we protect people? Right? Project their talent, all right, but make sure that these deteriorations don't spoil the stories. Okay? That's the big thing. That's where I think we should be going.
Thank you very much. It's Joy 99.7 Showbiz Roundtable, 6th edition, and we're having a conversation on mental health regarding creatives. Let me get to NanaYaw, Wiredu, and Natalia now. NanaYaw, what do you have to say about all that you've heard from Nortey and then Doc?
Well, I think we're having a great conversation. Learned a lot. Most of the things that they have said are things that we do. When I say we, those of us who are like coaches of these talents.
Yeah.
So I always describe the work we do as like a football coach.
Okay.
Whenever your talent is winning, you are the best. Whenever they are not winning, you have to be sacked. And so most of the time, most people or some of us do things out of the space to try and get to the level where they want to be called winners. So let me try and address something he said with regards to the DD and all those things. What happens, like the accreditation, whether it's management or whether it is mental.
Sure.
Some managers, whenever you are about to work with a talent and the talent shows you the other side, you know, like Kojoki was saying, he learned how to cook, he does A, B, C, D. You find a way of using that to become a tool for commercialization. So something that was personal to the talent, that he or she is hiding it from the fan base or the public, you find a way to say, you know what, emotional marketing is the best marketing that you can ever do. Let people know that you know how to cook. Let people know that your mom is very close to you. And sometimes when an artist is going for an interview or going for a product launch or a project or something, we actually script and say, listen, you know what, Kwame Dadzie is very good with technical conversations. Your fans don't really have that technical ability to decode whatever they come to say. So let Kwame be technical. You be very emotional. Sound very emotional to the fans. Let the fans feel like, oh, Charlie, this guy, he be so down to earth. When Kwame is pushing, so are you saying that? Then I'll be at the back and I'll say, calm. Because once you follow what Kwame is saying, you tend to give out a lot of information that you are not supposed to. Because there's something called triggers. I don't know, maybe they will explain.
Yeah.
So for me, I always know everything that triggers my talent. So if you've seen me work before with a talent, when we are coming, I will tell you that Kwame will trigger you here. He will pass here. When he passes here, please stay here. This information, like example, like you and Jackie, when is the album coming? You can say a lot of things to get into her head. Praise her. Wow, you are such a good singer. You are the best. Do you know you are the best female artist right now? And then she gets overwhelmed and she says, and Kwame says, so where's the album coming? And so, March 5th. It's gone. So our work is, before we get here, the preparation is that we get you to understand the ins and outs of where you're going. Some managers also use another example from the DD thing. How you grew up. Who was your dad? What did he do? What are some of the similarities between you and your father? Once you tell us, and then we use that for commercialization.
Wow.
Because so far as somebody is like that, there will be people who can relate to that type of persona. So that becomes addition of winning fan base to what you do. Do you understand? Sometimes the reason I said we haven't to write a song is, we know the talents don't normally know what a hit song is. Yeah. They produce what they think is music.
Yeah.
But as managers, we know. Example. So you are writing a song, a very beautiful love song, and then I come and I say, wow. Do you know if you go at Philip Na in this song, Philip Na gets angry, tells Kwame Dadzie not to play your song. I go and find out from Joy, and I trigger that conversation. We become number one talk of town, and then people want to go and hear the song that Philip Na is saying that Kwame Dadzie shouldn't play, and then gives us more radio play, more spins outside radio, gets us more interviews because we have to go and explain why Philip Na is saying that we shouldn't play a song. And so sometimes they go like, oh, you sure about this strategy? I say yes. And sometimes they themselves will say, listen, this person said this to me in an interview. I didn't like it. I want to put it in a song in a way that you have to start a narrative.
Okay.
And so you get your boys on standby. Now, this goes...
Agenda boys.
This transcends... Now, this moves into social media marketing. So we create about... You can create about 5 different accounts to be on standby. And then you say, once the song is released, there one account... one account will come and say, hey, Kwame Dadzie, do you know this guy is talking about you? Then Kwame Dadzie has ignored. He has muted that fan's comment. But another account will come and say, Kwame Dadzie, you're acting as if you have not heard what this artist said about you. So 5 of them, Kwame want to respond in a comment. Then that becomes the PR spin to start the conversation to drive the music. So for somebody like a superstar like Diddy, the management can tell him that you cannot use your father's or your mother's experiences in your professional life, because it will come back and bite you. Then he will say, that is what I know best. So if I'm going to do a project, I need to throw the wildest party. I want to have leverage on people. I want to be I am a control freak by nature. And so if you take that away from me, I can't function properly. So as a manager or as a talent manager, your work now is, how do I manage that part of him so it doesn't get out of hand? So most of the time in Ghana, artists don't really have news. I think I've said it several times.
Okay.
In Ghana, most celebrities don't have news. What's the news? What James Ghana said is not news.
Why is not news?
If you compare what happens in Hollywood, where issues of, like extreme activities that they do, Ghanaian artists don't do that.
Can I just say something to him?
Okay.
See, you have a creative, living, a scripted life, curated life. They have a persona. They have who they think they know they are or were. So you have identity confusion. To you, you are commercializing it. But mentally, I am now 3 different people. And I'm following a script. Do you see? So it creates mental health issues if not properly managed. Now, you've gone and stirred, Philip, nice nest. The bees are coming, but you've told me you will manage it. Right?
Yeah.
I have to believe and accept that my manager, my producer or my director has got this. But essentially, I am not Edward. If anything goes wrong, or if I have any challenges behind the screensaver, it is my mental health challenge.
Yeah.
So you have celebrities who have so many challenges that you will never see because they have to wear a scripted, curated mask.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So some of these exposures and exposés you are hearing, Usher, PDD and all that, is because the mask has crumbled. And people think they can save their empires. So you have Terrence Howard coming here. This person says this. All sorts of names you thought were not related. Right? And then they sit in a crucible and an ecosystem which says, these are black entertainers. Do you see? Here we are all black. So the fight that is going on there is also a mental health issue. We are blacks. Now Usher comes and say, geez, guy, I was a child. And it's another point I want to hit strongly here. There are people who are creatives and they became creatives, they hit or became successes or stars at a developmental age. They were now growing. Some are being initially managed by parents.
Yeah.
Then they have blowouts with their own parents and say, I'm managing myself. These are mental health issues. If they don't go well, they will bear fruit later. So you are managing a child or a young woman. There are managers who believe, and I've heard Bulldog say this sometimes. Charlie, if I'm managing you there, it will happen. No.
Oh yeah. He said that
Natalia.
a number of times.
So life. I will have a relationship
He said that
with
a number
you.
of times, yeah.
Why in heaven's name don't we see this as abuse? Right? We can have fine. I manage you. You sing, you dance, so I must sleep with you or have a relationship with you. And if you are not that kind of person, but you want to log on to that success, what does it mean? So what if you change your label? Are you going to sleep with the next manager? And you heard a lot, Weinstein, right?
Yeah.
To get a role in Hollywood, this is how I got here. So I'm just trying to create this discussion and get it locked down. Why is what's his name? Jada Pinkett's alopecia an issue such that Will Smith will get up and go and slap Chris Rock? And when he slapped him, what was the expression on Jada Pinkett's face? Did she support Chris Rock? Do you see? And Chris, sorry, I said Chris Rock.
Will Smith.
Will Smith. Will had a meltdown. If that was a gun, do you see? But it is because there were mental health issues in that relationship they call an open marriage, right? They have a label and a talk show that talks about many things. Do you see? So you start to see that this thing sells. And like NanaYaw said, this can be commercialized. They make money out of that. The same way Prince Harry can commercialize his psychiatric interview. Okay?
Yeah.
Even though the person who interviewed him, I can tell you a bit more about his profession as well. So this is why is a royal prince now selling his mental health issue? And that's another aspect we need to look at.
Yeah.
You can make money out of your disorder or your distress. And I'm sure Albert can comment on that as well. Your doctor, your psychologist might know that you are on medication, but you are making money. You see? And you are running your mouth about this thing, which in itself might be symptomatic about the thing of the thing we are dealing with.
Great.
Do you see? Right. So we've got to manage these things well.
Yeah.
We know what we are commercializing, and we know how it may potentially damage the talent or the creative we are dealing with.
Good one there. No, please continue with your point. So I come to Natalia.
Okay, so Doug also talked about the different types of, they're very popular on the anxiety and then the mood.
Yes.
I think that's what I have seen with most of them creatives here. And that's what I'm saying, that some of them, like they said, for me, it's self-diagnosed and also self-sabotage. The self-diagnosis comes like this. I'm doing very well. I just released a film. I am on the media run. And I go on a couple of media runs and I did a premiere and the movie is successful. After that, what happens next? You get it? So now, if they can't find what happens next and they go into their cocoon, they fold. Then they give it a title that I'm depressed. And some of them that I manage. So for instance, when I see, like, I'm talking to Kwame Dadzie every day. Kwame is very optimistic. Out of nowhere, Kwame becomes, the thing, if I do myself, I'll not do it, it'll be okay. Then I see that, no, you are trying, Kwame, you are losing something. Then I ask, what's wrong with you? Then I begin to ask, what's happening at home? Is everything okay at home? Some people don't even ask their talent, how are you doing? Many managers don't call their talents. Like in the morning, I'm on the phone. I'll call you and say, bro, how are you? Don't lie. How are you doing? And I can tell you that, bro, I'm not okay. Because I'm working with you on this, that something's happening to me. I share. Say, Charlie, me too. Then we share. Then we both sit down and say, okay, how do we get better? Okay, let's meet and play FIFA. Once we find some good music and vibe to.
Good.
And some of them, I find solutions. Like, I try to find some ideas for them to help. So some of them, like, they like to dance, but they can't really dance. When your body is moving, there's this, I don't know, Doc can explain. There's this thing that comes with like a freedom kind of thing. So I get them to dance a lot. Even sometimes when you're going to perform.
Yeah.
Especially with the female artists that I've handled. Like, for instance, if I'm working with NanaYaw, for instance, you need to start the preparation like a week ahead. Get her to be in a certain direction, certain mood, performance. But the key thing is, before she goes on stage, you get her to be happy by dancing. We've performed at places where on our way we had serious issues we had to handle at home for some of the female artists. Like, I'm talking about family issues, serious. But you've also taken someone's budget. You can't disappoint the person.
Go and perform.
Sometimes I return the money. I've done that so many times that people
breach of contract.
Yes, but I tell the promoter that in my contract, because it's a female artist I'm managing and their mothers, A, B, and C are likely to happen.
Okay.
So you need to state that in the contract for me. I've done a show with one artist. I won't mention the name, but we drove to the venue and we had a call. We had to go to the hospital. So you
didn't perform?
No, we took the money from the car. I called the promoter and I said, bro, I'm so sorry. Whoa. Two things can happen. Either I owe you a show or I refund. Or I can let her do a video and say, I apologize, I was coming, but I have a family emergency, I have to go. And the person said, okay, let her do the video so we can play. So we do the video and then they play. Some managers will not allow that. They will still get you to stand on the stage to perform that. I don't do that. I always put the well-being of my talent first. Even when we're recording a song and I see that you're not in the space to record a song, I don't push it. Most of them will tell you. If you call Adam, he will tell you. When we are going to the studio and I make a call and then I see that the conversation is not going as it's supposed to go, I say, bro, you know what we go do? Let's cancel the session. Take it easy. You want me to come by? You want us to meet and have a conversation? Oh, bro, at the house, come. Then we go and meet and have a conversation for some time. Then we cancel it. We've done an issue where we're about to release a song. We scan through the industry and see that we can drop the song. But we didn't, like Doug was saying, poverty. We didn't have enough budget to say we're going to get a song.
Change that to financial issue. If we like the poverty is too much.
No. I'm just saying that.
Yes.
I'm just like you don't have the budget.
We understand
to get the song to where it has to be. So then you have to find a way to say, you know what? Let's drop we shouldn't push the song out because we don't have to, rush to get a song out. Yeah. Some managers won't do that. A plan is a plan. It has to. We have to start and then we have to finish. But I don't do that. And with the example of the anxiety issues, before a performance, fans don't know this, but artists, no matter how many years they've been performing on stage, there's always an anxious moment before they climb the stage. So for me, I stand. If the stage is 5 feet high, I'm like 3 feet squatting, talking to the artist whilst they're performing.
Wow.
Yes, I do that all the time. For NanaYaw, for Raquel, everybody. You find me under there in the crowd. Sometimes in the beginning, I know that my artist gets jittery in the first 3-4 minutes. So I'm there. I'm the only fans. I'm shouting. I'm giving the fans.
Wow.
Yes. For Bino Ayoni, for instance.
Yeah.
Bino Ayoni, who won the Mentor.
Yeah.
He went back to perform at TV3 recently, and because I know him, I was in the crowd, and one of the camera guys was saying, "This guy be crazy," because I was the only fans cheering. I was shouting, "Superstar, super!" And because he knows my voice, I'm the only person he's saying to. He gets off that anxious mood, and takes on the crowd. Then my work is done. Then I come to look at the band, and make sure that nobody goes off. So sometimes you need to understand how to manage. And we manage the mood. That's the most difficult job that we do. The mood before and after. A performance cannot go according to plan. So you need to manage the mood after the performance. You can tell that this performance that we did, this set didn't work. Quickly, you have to find a way to get the artist to understand that it happens. You don't have to point fingers. You don't have to say the band guy no play the drum. It happens. We are human. That's the best part of our lives. We cannot get it right all the time. So if we don't get it right today, we have another chance. Then you say, "Shall the media?" I say, "I will handle the media." Nobody can spin narratives more than we do. We know what we did. So when the pressure starts, that maybe so and so artist flops, then we also do our press release and say so and so amazing performance.
Why don't you do that first?
We don't do that
to lead the narrative.
Yes, sometimes the bloggers and the writers are ahead of you.
Yeah, they are fast.
By the time you will leave the event to call your
stories and
it's
videos
gone.
already gone.
It's gone. Yes, it's gone.
Yeah.
So it's the work is a bit complicated with the mental health thing, because you are looking at your artist, you are seeing signs of that this performance there. It won't happen. And then you have to manage the artist leaving the car without taking a picture with fans who have zero idea that this artist is not in the space to stand and take a picture or smile. Because the focus is, let me go and do my job. When I'm done, then we can. And the fans sometimes be like, "Oh, bro," then they start to say words.
To know.
So when you see an artist coming to perform and they want to hide, it's not because they are doing something out of the world. It's just because even the performance itself, there's an anxious moment going on stage. You can go on stage and microphone will not work.
Kiddy has mentioned that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But most people don't know that. Most people don't know that. So I think that our biggest mental health issue that we are seeing around the creatives is the mood. Because the moods happen, like Kwame, for instance. You've done this job for how many years?
Yeah.
You've been successful so many times. And so it is, even in marketing, the PLC, the product life cycle, it is very normal for you to hit and decline. And if you're declining, there's a way you can manage that so that you don't come so down. So you find a way of and that's what happens to the Barima Sydney, changing the name, blah blah blah. Do you get it? And so the mood disorder is the biggest one that we normally deal with. So today I'm learning a lot. So now
we're all learning.
Now when I sign you, instead of 3 years, now it's 4 years. I thought it's 4 years.
Yes, please. I will come to you again, but let me pick Natalia's opinion on all that we've said so far. Then I come to you. Yeah, Natalia.
Yes. So I have learned a lot today myself as well. But here's the thing for me is when Nortey mentioned that a lot of people would use substance and alcohol.
Yeah.
I know that some people find ways to cope. Right? There are coping mechanisms for a lot of people. And then the coping mechanism itself then becomes an addiction, which is a big problem.
Yeah.
And for me, I think that would be one of the questions that I'm going to ask you, because you see, sometimes some people, like we have seen, will self-diagnose.
Yeah.
I, for one, have had, I don't know how I would describe it, but I want to believe that I've had little bouts of anxiety because my mind can travel really far.
Whoa.
It's like even when I have to do a journey to Cape Coast, I'm thinking of all the things that could possibly wrong with that, possibly go wrong with this trip. Like my mind does that to me all the time. If my kids have to go on an excursion in school, I'm thinking of all the things that go, and sometimes I've stopped them from going because in my mind, what if something goes wrong? So sometimes it's a way that you stop yourself from living, essentially, because you're always thinking of all the things that could possibly go wrong. One of the things I do not do is I don't watch because of the algorithm on social media.
Yeah.
For instance, if you saw one accident video, it will feed you with thousands
of
it.
such videos.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Absolutely. And I'm unable to watch certain things. For some reason, if I watched a video, say, of an accident that happened, tonight as I'm going back home, every car that passes me by, I am analyzing all of the moves that you're making because, and I think that is like a certain level of worrying, which like eats into anxiety. And that happens to me a lot of the time. So I stop myself from watching certain things because it'll be difficult for me, like in the very near future. Sometimes I even struggle with sleep when I've seen something. So I don't watch. There's so much. I have my algorithm on social media. You'd be amazed. I'm in a certain direction only. I'm watching food. I'm watching maybe little bits of motivation. I'm watching a lot of mental health. That's it. I don't like to see certain things because then it's a problem for my mind to process, And I know that there are so many people who go through some of these things and they find ways to cope. They find like, okay, how can I make myself feel better? Some people, because they will do the self-diagnosis, oh, I'm depressed. But they find that when I drink just a glass of wine, it settles me and I can sleep. And then it becomes 2 glasses of wine. It becomes a bottle of wine. Then it becomes 2 bottles of wine because they are just trying to cope.
Now it's becoming a testimony.
Now it's becoming a testimony. No. But that's the
I'm
thing.
kidding.
I know, because they're just trying to find ways to cope. So I feel that, first of all, people should always, if you find that you're going in a certain angle, always try to speak to a professional.
Okay.
And then to the professionals here, for anyone, whether in the creative industry or anyone in general, who may be struggling with certain things mentally, but has found ways to cope. Somebody says that, oh, my wife nags me too much, but when I drink a bottle of beer before I go home, whatever she says, I'll shoulder it. You know what I mean? So it's a bottle of beer for now. But then it becomes 2, 3, 4, 5, and you started because you were just trying to cope, But before you know, that coping mechanism becomes an addiction, which is a big struggle. People find ways to cope.
Yeah.
I lost Alexander McQueen. He committed suicide because he lost his mother, and the coping was hard for him. And it eventually got him to kill himself because the struggle was too much for him. There are so many people who go through so many things, and because it's difficult for them to have a conversation, how am I coping? Sometimes you lose a relationship, you lose your parents, you lose a job, you lose money, you put some money in a contract that goes south or something. So many things happen, but people are not able to have the conversation, and they find some ways that they think is helping them. People are into gambling addiction. Sex addiction is so big for a lot of people, because for some people, once another human being is by my side, I'm okay. All of my problems are okay. But you see, in their minds, it's just so I can cope. So I think that mine is more of a question where I'll ask that. For people who do these things where they hold on to something, you know, as a way of coping, which then becomes a growth and a growth and a growth and eventually an addiction. Like, how should people cope that will not bring them any kind of problems in the future?
So that's a question to the No, so you write your question down. I'll come to you. We have some more time, but
so when it comes
quickly, yes.
It's about you losing control. That's like the simplest definition. It is when you lose control of anything, either an activity or maybe habit or use of something, all right? So, or doing something despite the negative consequences. So when it comes to coping, there are positive coping ways and there are negative. One of the positive ways you talked about, which is very commendable to the creatives in general, is having MSI, multiple streams of income. So that when you don't have a hit song, you have something else generating income. So you don't act in desperation to get another hit song and get another flop, supposedly not flop, not a hit song, and then keep on doing, not getting hit songs, and then you get lots of low moments. Now, with substances, alcohol and illicit drugs, there's no safe zone. Once you start using one glass, you will definitely graduate to 2 glasses. And then it's not linear, it's exponential. So from 1 glass to 2 glasses, next you're on 1 bottle. Then 2 bottles. I have been at a restaurant, see a woman walk in and gulp down 12 bottles of beer. And that wasn't the miracle. The real miracle was the fact that she was able to walk back home. And this was an eyewitness report. Because she came, gulped down 12 bottles, that's a whole crate, and walked back home. How did this happen? It didn't happen just, it was in an upper west region. You start with, say, pito, alcohol, fermented alcohol. So over time, your body becomes used to it. Tolerance. You need higher doses to feel a similar way. So you keep on adding. So 1 glass today makes you feel a certain way. Tomorrow, 1 glass will not do it. So now 2 to make you feel a similar way. But what happens is you are not likely to ever feel the same high again. So you do what we call chasing the high. So you 2 glasses is no more doing. Now you go to 1 bottle. So you see somebody now taking 1 bottle and you're asking, how are you able to stand with all this? It's because the system over the time has adapted and adjusted to that chemical in the system. Now it gets to a point where you become dependent, which means without that substance in your system, you cannot function. So now they are dependent, now you become slaves to it. So you were using the drug or the substance, now the drug is now using you. Now you're not able to just stop or reduce the dose abruptly, because if you do, you're going to have withdrawal effects. So the withdrawal effect is what is going to keep you continue using, and as you keep continuing using, the side effect continues. Then the very thing it was helping you temporarily now dips, never to come back again. So coping with substances is not a positive one. If you cope with what you said, the dance therapy, it's a positive one. So dance therapy is a thing. People dance to feel okay. So it's a thing. Music therapy, it's a thing. Playing games, it's good. Talking to friends and family, of course, trusted ones, because these days people can weaponize your weakness. So talking to friends and family, seeking professional help. That's what we don't talk about most in our part of the world. Seeking professional help is a good coping mechanism. Having multiple streams of income, because reality check, expectations management, you know, like you really described the product life cycle, you are not always going to be in the limelight. You're not always going to have #1 song in the country. You're not always going to be you're not always going to win an award. You're not always going to be nominated. You're not always going to be trending. Your followership may dip. a scandal may hit you. You may be innocent, but it's social media judges that have already passed their judgment, so they may all unfollow you. And then your followership goes to half or 10% off, or maybe 90% are off. Expectations management. As long as there's life, you should know there is going to be death. As long as there's marriage, there's risk of divorce. As long as there's relationship, there's risk of breakup. As long as, so you need to know these things. If you are doing well today, there's a risk of you not doing well tomorrow. So if you want to continue doing well, there's something you have to do to keep. So the expectation, man, like what he is saying, he's doing quite well with his artist because he knows how to manage before, during, and after their mood. So
until he crashes and then they, then the artist don't know doesn't know where to go. All right.
Because I think we have shared. We have built that system where we both understand, that we are human beings.
Best friend.
Yes, we hang out a lot. So when I'm moving down, sometimes when I get a call from Eden, for instance, he can call me and say, "Bro, I see your post. What's up?" Then I say, "Oh, it just be copy." He said, "No, bro, don't share that thing." Quickly, I'll go and delete the thing.
Who manages the manager?
Yeah,
Who manages the manager?
Because you see, we are creatives, and we have to function in a certain direction. But we also believe that we are human beings.
You are.
When it's going gets tough, we pull back.
But the same way you have your triggers and you can go and trigger Philip Nye. Somebody's also triggering, right? So what I'm interested in is what Natalia said. I have found Natalia found a way to cope, but the solution becomes a problem. Somebody can say, "I chew ice blocks and it relaxes me," right? So we need to know when something is an incident and when it's a pattern. You say, "I stand in the pit," right? Just by the fall of the stage, and I'm queuing, right? I've sung in the choir before. You look at one person, so all the other people you're afraid of don't exist. They become shadows, and that person lifts your performance. But if I'm having to do this for every show, that is a pattern. It's not an incident. And therefore, it needs to be dealt with. Roots, not fruits. Initially, it's a fruit, you see. But because the root is there, you will harvest and harvest. It means you can't leave that your position, right? So that that talent has a problem.
Okay.
Just quickly with what Albert says. Please, 3 C's. Any habit that is becoming dependent, you are becoming dependent, right? It pushes you to engage in that habit. Call it compulsion. First C. Loss of control. Second C, control. He mentioned it. The last C, negative consequences. Okay? If now, as the Chinese say, first the man takes the bottle and then the bottle takes the man. So you were buying the beer, now the beer is running you. Okay? And it's important for people to know, not just creatives. When we talk of addiction, dependence, it's not just substances. We have addictive behaviors. It's a whole spectrum. People get depressed and they shop online or they blow money, right? And it's part of the problem. They feel fine when they are shopping, spending, okay? And it relaxes them. But without any control, management, before you realize the person has spent 30,000 Ghana cedis. Right? That's when they start to borrow. That's when gambling comes in. So there's so many addictions or addictive behaviors. If you have a behavior that has the 3 C's, negative consequences, it is calling you. Even when you say, today is the last, Mejai, and you still do it, right? Anything you struggle to quit is a problem. Then you need help. Okay? We have something we call obsessive compulsive disorder. Certain thoughts come into your head and they push you to do certain things. So, for example, if I don't chew my food 14 times, something will happen. So, you see somebody sitting at a table chewing. Or somebody says, if I walk on the pavement and I step on the cracks between the slabs, something will happen. You see somebody walking and then they hop. Right? And this is a belief system, right, that keeps them, but you'll be near this person, you've noticed this thing, but you don't think it's a disorder, right? Why do you do this? Okay? When I put my clothes, I had a kid who said, when I put my clothes in the laundry basket, it must not touch the sides of the basket. Otherwise, something will happen. So he had a whole ritual of putting away his clothes in the laundry basket. But it starts as if when I do it that way, it stops a certain problem. I think I'm solving a problem, but it's actually a problem. So people have certain rituals, creatives. I must do this before I go on stage. It's just like a coach team saying that Malameke about what three. What white? What powder? What dressing room? You see, you think it's, but these beliefs, we also are concerned about people's beliefs. What holds this person? Somebody wears this particular thing every performance. That thing is missing, and there's an issue. So that you look out for these things. He's getting to know his talents, so he tries to. But the last thing is, we work in a preventive mode as well. We don't just treat and cure things which have occurred. We can help prevent them from happening. So you are managing, and you may even have Black Stars, team psychologists. It doesn't mean they're loony or they're crazy. You are managing behavior. If I know, sometimes I say to people, Jordan has some streak, he can play, but sometimes something happens. I can see Jordan stalking this player, he'll whack him, right? Or he's changed his tackle because the person did something earlier, right? I think, oh, this is something. Balotelli, you have to manage him. You see, Paul Pogba, you have to manage him. Once we're doing these things, the mental health consequences, right, which are negative, we can prevent them. They won't happen.
Thank you very much. Joe 99.7, the Showbiz Roundtable 6th edition. And we have some of your thoughts right here. This one says, hello, good afternoon to you all. Please, I'm really enjoying the conversation about mental health, and I love the explanations and contributions giving. Myself, I have been in a situation where I was not happy in life, and many years ago, that was like from 2011, I wanted to end it all, thinking about a whole lot of problems I couldn't solve on my own. Depression is a long road. Sir Nortey and Dr. Sedofia, can I get your contacts to talk to you? Currently, I face the challenge with my sickle cell, and I'm working with the aid of crutches. Okay, due to a hip injury caused by sickle cell. Please, I live in Akosombo, but I can't mention my name here. Thanks, please. Okay, so we deal with this later on. This one says, Kwame Dadzie, this discussion is not only great or brilliant, this is a therapeutic discussion. Please, we need more of such discussions, and how I wish the experts find time for your space. I will be interested to know more about the cost of fame. My regards to your guests in the studio. Do we have more? All right, Joy 99.7. So we have some more time. We have a lot more points to discuss. Showbiz Roundtable. We have Nortey in here, Natalia, Andoh, Dr. Albert Sedo here, and we have NanaYaw Wiredu. We're taking a breather, but if you are worrying, if you have a lot on your mind, this song says, don't worry.
Let's go. Everywhere you go.
Kweku, have you heard what they are doing on MTN?
Feel the excitement. Enjoy the conversation. Come with us on this exciting journey of growth and personal development. We challenge you to break the status quo, step out and do big things. Catch host Reverend Albert Okran as he vibes with CEOs, experts, and change makers. Right here on Springboard, your virtual university. Now showing every Sunday at 9 p.m. on Joy News TV, 7 p.m. on Joy 99.7 FM, and streaming online on Facebook and YouTube. You can't miss it. Partners, MTN Ghana, Enterprise Group, and the Ghana Grows Program. A collaboration between MasterCard Foundation and Springboard Roadshow Foundation. Media partners, Joy FM, Joy News TV, and Graphic. Springboard. Your personal value will shoot up.
Here's on turnaround. Here's where we turn around.
Kwame is cooking up the perfect multi-bet, ready to serve to all his friends and followers. He's using Betway's Bet Influencer, a new sports betting feature where he can make money just by sharing his codes. The more codes he shares, the more money he makes. Anyone can be a bet influencer. Another world first from Betway. Terms and conditions apply. Regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Bet the responsible way. Betway. Get way more.
They may be young, but don't be deceived. These rising culinary stars are ready to battle it out in the most intense kitchen showdown on television. With mind-blowing challenges, surprise twists, and jaw-dropping dishes, only one will rise to the top and claim the title. New rivalries, bigger stakes, epic flavors. Who has the skill, the heart, and the heat to survive the fire in the kitchen? Join me, Michelle Ajakum, the judges, and the awesome kitty chefs every Sunday at 4 p.m. only on Joy Prime. Big Chef, good meals by kids.
Big Chef Junior Season 4 is proudly brought to you by Phyto Vegetable Oil, Fortune Spread, Indomie, Day Purified Drinking Water, Gino Tomato Mix, Reedy Vitamin C, Leaven 2 Feminine Wash, and Kivo Hot Pepper.
Across Ghana, unsung heroes and heroines are defying the odds to change lives. The search for the next Joy News Impact Maker 2025 is over. Joy News, in partnership with McDan Foundation, empowering futures, building communities, announces the 10 finalists for this year's Impact Makers. From Kiseman in the Greater Accra region, Raymond Senyo Amezadu is shaping the future by engaging children in after-school programs, ensuring they have access to quality education. At the Kolebu Teaching Hospital in Accra, Ekuya Sapon is a beacon of hope for children battling cancer, raising awareness and providing resources to improve their quality of life. Through the lens of photography, Geoffrey Kwame Buta empowers students with hearing disabilities in Tamale, giving them a voice and a platform to share their stories. Eric Bwedi Sampon from the Eastern region is recognized for improving educational infrastructure, accommodation for teachers, and providing access to potable water for the Atani Ata community. And in Wa, William Ayaba Akongbagbere has redefined education with a hybrid school system, creating an inclusive environment for children with special needs and diverse backgrounds. In the fight for mental health awareness, Osei Boateng is making waves in the Ashanti region with the Wuhunyame Wellness Program, providing crucial support and breaking the stigma around mental health. Portia Dumba from Jindabo in the Savannah region is hailed for empowering women to venture into shea butter production and high-quality cosmetics, fostering financial independence and sustainability. From Susiano in the Ahafo region, Bennett Asante Nkrumah believes that education should not be a privilege but a right, offering free schooling to needy students. Similarly, Daniel Nkrumah is bringing clean water to communities across Ghana with borehole outreach programs that are transforming lives. In Amasaman, Joseph Tete Afangbe is on a mission to promote hygiene awareness in schools and communities, ensuring healthier futures for the next next generation. These Joy News impact makers are the 2025 change makers, the problem solvers, the everyday heroes and heroines, reshaping Ghana. The spotlight is on. This year's awards is brought to you by the Center for Strategic Philanthropy and Social Investment of the Pentecost University, unleashing transformational philanthropy, research, and innovation for community impact. Philanthropy Ghana, promoting and elevating philanthropy in Ghana. Gold Key Properties, transforming the landscape. MNC Group Global, totally reliant. German Ozone Medical Center, alternative therapy, dental wellness and beauty. And latest film, your partner for life. Ghana CEO Summit, inspiring business leadership and economic transformation. Joy News Impact Makers Awards, celebrating ordinary people making extraordinary impact.
Joy 99.7 FM.
Background is one coming from Kojo King, and he is advising us to be kind to each other. Yes, be kind to people having different issues, whether they're mental, whether they are financial, whatsoever. Be kind to everybody. Showbiz Roundtable, we're having a conversation on creatives and their mental health. Now, let's get to know at what point in time do we as creatives need to go see a professional? At what point in time? Let me ask Dr. Sedofia, who is here with us. When do I go see a professional like a psychologist or a psychiatrist? When?
It's just like putting it in a different. How do I know I have some challenges with
yes.
mental health?
Yes.
Three ways. If you notice or someone else notice that there's a shift in how you think, behave, or feel, if there's a shift from how I used to know you.
Yeah.
So if I know that you're a bubbly person, very jovial, friendly, and all of a sudden you are now quiet, you are now isolating. Even though you just said, oh, I just want to mind my own business, but that is not how you used to be. I know you are an introvert, but this is not how your introvert pans out. But now there's a shift in how you are behaving. If I know the way you talk, how you think, and all of a sudden you are beginning to believe certain things that is unusual of you, I am worried. I'm not going to you're not to diagnose them yet, but there is a risk, there's a chance that there could be a problem. If the way they feel about things, for example, you are okay, everything is going on well until you start saying, I think my mother is a witch, or I think you are plotting against me. I think the manager that doesn't like me that much. He or she wants me out of this place because I've worked and they think I will take over the company. How you think, feel, and behave. If there's a shift, then, and that could be you realizing it, or somebody realizing that about you. We are supposed to be one another's keeper, each other's keeper. So if you notice that it means you need help. Just go and talk to a professional. And in this case, now that the awareness is going out there, talk to a clinical psychologist, talk to a psychiatrist, or just any health professional. Could be any doctor. But be frank with it. So if the person is not trained well in mental health issues, they may not ask you the questions. Myself and Mr. Natalia will ask you the detailed questions about all the exploratory questions to know what the issue is. But tell them, I think there's a shift in how I'm feeling now and how I'm maybe behaving now or how I am, acting now. So just tell them the truth, maybe. And mostly it manifests in your sleep pattern. One of the earliest signs.
Sleep.
And it is almost always ignored. Yes. It's the easiest. And most people go to hospitals, I can't sleep well. And it may be overlooked. Giving sleeping aids and left to go and take care of yourself, maybe reassured or something. But sleep pattern is one of the earliest signs of possible mental health challenges. Of course, there are lots of other symptoms based on what you're experiencing. But if it gets to the higher levels where you are beginning to lose touch with reality, where, say, you are hearing voices that may not be there. It starts subtly. Say you hear somebody mention your name, you tell there's nobody. You doubt, did somebody really mention my name? And in your wakefulness, you hear a voice through your ears. And then you tell you don't see anybody. You check yourself, you are awake. You didn't hear any voice. Like there was nobody behind you or something. You need to just go get yourself checked. If you're having maybe, like your belief system is changing, you're beginning to believe certain things that can be proven. Say you say, for example, let me just make it easy. Somebody says, yes.
Can I help you?
Yes, please, go ahead.
I believe I can fly.
Yes. And that can be proven to be not true. You believe you're the son of the president, and we can prove that you are not, hopefully by DNA, that you are not the son. That it becomes a delusion, a fixed, strong belief that is held on to despite contrary evidence. Then there's worry. All right. Then when it comes to the mood area, where you are feeling you can feel, if you lose money right now, if you lose your phone right now, you feel sad. But when you are feeling extremely sad, it's not one that you can just snap out of. Like sometimes your friends will tell you, oh, you'll be fine, just get out. Oh, NanaYaw, this one, I know you'll be but no. But when you are depressed, clinically depressed, the sadness is not your usual, I'm feeling sad. You are feeling extremely sad that even when your phone is returned to you, you'll still be feeling sad. It's way beyond your usual sadness. For every human being, there's a normal up and down. We all go through it. It's normal. You feel happy, you feel sad sometimes, you feel down, you feel okay. But when you go below the low, that's when you're going to clinical depression. So you feel extremely sad. You are beginning to lose interest in things you used to like. For example, look at NanaYaw, you like to dress well. Then all of a sudden I see you not appropriately dressed. Not usual of you.
Yeah. Your
haircut is left on for like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 1 month, 2 months. Your beard is all over the place. But this is not how I used to know NanaYaw. Then there could be a problem. You are beginning to lose interest in things you used to like. If you are getting tired easily, you are feeling hopeless. You are feeling helpless. You are feeling worthless. You are having poor concentration. And see, the 3 questions I've just asked, any psychiatrist who's asking these 3 questions will ask you a 4th one. I intentionally left it out because it's a danger zone. You're feeling hopeless, you're feeling helpless, and you're feeling worthless. The 4th one every psychiatrist will ask you is, are you having thoughts, suicidal thoughts?
Okay.
Then the next one will be, have you ever contemplated? Have you ever attempted?
Yeah.
Do you have any plans of? And it will marvel you. A lot of people have had suicidal thoughts. A lot of people have contemplated. Few have attempted. Do you understand? That's why that's why the decriminalization of suicide in the country was a good thing, because we have come to agree that anyone who died by suicide, now we don't say commit suicide anymore because that makes it criminal. Okay. Anyone who dies by suicide there's an underlying mental health challenge. Could be an acute psychological distress, such as he lost a bet. And money belonged to the family. He sold family land, 1 million Ghana cedis, and he wanted to double it. So he placed on a bet. He was so sure, because there was a betting analysis, somebody gave him a sure bet. He put out 1 million on there, and it just goes off. And within that psychological distress period, he said there's no point in living, and he dies by suicide. We know there could be an underlying mental health issue or an acute psychological distress. So these symptoms, when you have any of these symptoms, you have poor concentration, academic decline, either in your child or in yourself, poor work functioning. At work, you're making avoidable mistakes. You're taking a lot of time off work. When you come to work, presenteeism. Absenteeism is obvious, but presenteeism is dangerous. It can go unnoticed. So absenteeism, you're not in the seat. But presenteeism, you are there, but you're not working.
You are there, but not there.
Nothing. Yeah, yeah. So you are there, but not working. And then if you notice, maybe the way you react to things, sometimes we know you to be a very logical, technical person. Now you are reacting to things more emotional. You are getting angry easily. It could be most likely stress from work, from family, from financial challenges, from relationships, from your personal life.
Okay.
And these days it's difficult to have a work-life balance because your work affects your life affects your work. It's so when you are noticing any of these things, just seek help. But sometimes what the most difficult part is when you are not aware. And some people in that space of moment are not aware. That is why we all need to be careful. Because should it happen to you, NanaYaw, you may not be aware. But you expect that people around you are knowledgeable enough to know this is not NanaYaw. So let's get help for NanaYaw. So I give the scenario. In case you wake up and you start running out naked. And that's what people think mental illness is. That is somebody who's left uncared for. But we all come from a family, right? So nobody's supposed to end up like that on the street if families protect their own. Now, if you run out naked, what do you think it should be done for you? You expect your friends and family to come cover you up and get you help. That's what we want everybody to have. That's why people need to know there is a thing as mental health and there's a thing as mental illness. So that in case you find yourself, sometimes we have to get court order to treat some people against their will. And when they recover, they say thank you. I've had people that, lots of people, we have private places. Mr. Nortey will tell you, he's been on the field for decades. He will tell you, there are people, when they are in that space, somebody told me just yesterday, this we've known, but when it comes from their mouth, it's easy. So this person is living with schizophrenia. And she tells me, Doc, when I'm hearing the voices and I'm talking back to them, I'm in my own world. The world you guys are seeing as real is different from my own because I'm talking to people, real people, I'm seeing them. So it's a real thing. They hear the voices, they see the things, they feel it, they believe it, and they act accordingly. So it's a thing. And everyone who has a brain is at risk.
Wow.
It can happen to anybody. And what might precipitate it, we don't know. Could be a breakdown in a relationship, in your marriage. Could be an accident. That's a traumatic brain injury. Now you dressed up nicely from home. You are driving normal speed. And then somebody hits you from behind. No fault of yours, but you've not had traumatic brain injury. That can predispose you to having a mental illness.
Wow.
So everyone is at risk. That is why the awareness, that you see how passionate Mr. Natalia is, because he has seen numbers. No one is exempt from this. So to suspect somebody or yourself of having, once you are feeling a deviation from how you think, behave, and feel, and also if it's causing you to dysfunction, if how you used to do things, it's preventing you from doing things the way you would have wanted to do, or how you used to do them, or what is expected of you, then I'm not putting a label on you. Just speak to a professional.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Sedofia, who is a specialist psychiatrist. Now let me come to you, Nortey Dua.
Member.
Maba. Advice, not but
right.
Okay.
Just a few additions.
Great.
He mentioned sleep as a good indicator.
Yeah.
Some people, when these things are happening, appetite changes.
Yeah.
Another good marker. So sometimes you see a doctor ask you, are you sleeping well? Are you eating well? There are certain things when our system is under challenge. The brain is designed to shut down certain things. The same way your phone will tell you, you can't use the camera because battery is low.
Yeah.
So when you're under extreme stress, your brain sends messages. This is not the time to be digesting food. It's not the time for appetite. Right? It shuts that down. If there's insecurity, stress, this is not the time to sleep. When you are in danger, you don't sleep. So those are two very important flags. Come to creatives. If your talent is now, these things are changing. Some people, because of their schedule, when I used to do morning show, what time do we wake up? I drive here. By 4 a.m. I'm here, right? But that's daily. Somebody, because of rankings, ratings, wants to keep their seat on a morning show, doesn't sleep, doesn't do this, doesn't do that. You are managing that person, but you think it's cool. Work must be healthy. Creativity must be healthy. If to turn out this banger or whatever, I hear that King Promise is suffering. By the way, I love him to bits. But yeah, this is what is happening to this young man. This is the cost. Somebody put up something there. The cost of fame. Please, we must manage success as well as failure. Some people, just the fact that he has this money, he bought this car, he's had an accident. Okay?
Yeah.
Or this money took him into this. Now it's women. I know prominent people who, whether it is HIV or this or a child outside wedlock, that was their ticket to doom and failure. Yes, this is the one baby mama who says she won't keep quiet. You are still all right, but you are doomed. So if you're talking mental health issues, let's start understanding. I brought in the appetite.
Yeah.
He tells you fatigue, tiredness. We have those who the other side is agitation. They become wild, they have energy, they have this. Look out for that. Okay? Somebody is speaking, their speech is pressured. I say, ideas no ba. I dream no Johnny. Things like that, we look out for them. Okay? Perfectionism. We celebrate you when you are doing well, when you are looking well. She might not want to. She says she has kids now. She's done. Okay? But depending on what she's doing as a creative, under public scrutiny, there's somebody who's postponed pregnancy, childbirth, to change my body. But their partner wants a child. They are out there singing, whether R&B, hip-hop, whatever, but it's the issue they have at home. Because my body, no. Right? One day you'll be 40, you'll be 50. Right? And you realize that for your talent, you left this out. So let's start understanding these things. Please, even an assessment, a conversation, a consultation is not a label or a diagnosis. Do you see? So we're hearing people saying, I went through depression. We're not hearing people say, I went through hypertension and things, right? Because there are certain things that are giving these things mileage. Okay? And because the feedback is so instant and intense, if they say your new look or your new song is not flying, and you see the comments are coming, your consumption of social media, which I insist is social murder, right? We need to regulate these things. You mentioned there's certain things you don't watch.
Yeah.
I can tell you factually, from clinical experience, there was somebody who was so traumatized from watching news reports of the lynching of Major Mahama, right? And she couldn't sleep, she couldn't do anything just from that video. Okay? And you see, creatives, they consume a lot of, they monitor a lot of these things, right? So this also has a very huge mental health impact. I know people who have children who are being parented by social media. Okay? And our creatives are very vulnerable to this. The expectations, the hours, and so on. So let's get an ecosystem that looks out for everybody, especially the very young and vulnerable.
Okay.
Because you give somebody a contract of how many thousands of dollars, but this is their age. I'm from this place, okay, but suddenly I've shot into this space, right? That also needs management, otherwise it becomes a mental health issue. So if we are having these kinds of discussions and the creatives are now saying it not to trend, but really to get help,
Yeah.
I believe assessment is collecting information for a purpose.
Great.
Let the purpose happen. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm in this country. I was here when things were happening to Funny Face.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And so on. The dialogue wasn't that friendly. Okay? But it's because sometimes we, the professionals, allow the dialogue to be distorted. Albert and I have tried very hard to tell people that until you reach this point, you are actually okay. All right?
Great.
And then lastly, creatives go through a lot of traumas. Somebody's lost a mother. Somebody's house has been burgled. And we expect them to still be fine. And they don't know what to do with that incident.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So they have to pretend and hide.
Yeah.
Yeah? Somebody came for a party and they said, your father just died. You came for the RAQ party at the Independence Square. You came to perform. Right? What was the name? Iniedo.
Yeah.
Right. Your father died. You are here. You see? And these are the things they contend with.
All right.
So let's be mindful. And then where there's professional help available, let's draw closer to it.
Thank you very much. Let me get to Natalia and NanaYaw. Natalia, please do this under 1 minute for me.
Okay.
And NanaYaw, quickly. So,
Okay,
thank you.
so I think my conclusion would be that don't let anybody pressure you. Okay, move at your own pace.
Yeah.
You are the one to decide what success means to you.
Good.
Don't go according to anybody's pace or what they are doing. In recent times, there are so many videos on social media that is looking like it's trying to determine who a good mother is. People wake up at 4 a.m. to say, oh, I woke up at 4 a.m. and I made my children's school meal from scratch and this and that. And it's putting people under pressure to become supposedly a good mother. Move at your own pace.
Great.
Do what you can do to the best of your ability, but do not allow anybody
Good.
to pressure you.
Thank you, Natalia. NanaYaw, under 1 minute, please.
Creatives, managers, understanding your talent, understanding the work you do for them is also paramount to their growth. So learn more, read more, research more before you do any project with them.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Albert Sedofia. A big thank you to you. Not a dua to you, Natalia Andoh, NanaYaw Wiredu. It's been Showbiz Roundtable on Joy 99.7 FM, 6th edition. And we have been talking about creatives and mental health. And I've heard some of you say we should play this 1,000,000 times. Thank you very much. My name is Kwame Dadzie. Show produced by Philip Nice, supported by Anita Tay. A big thank you once again. So we're going for the news in the moment. Showbiz Roundtable returns some other time. Thank you so much for tuning in. And this show is brought to you by MTN everywhere you go. Superstar multi-fruit drink. Bye-bye.